Hello. Welcome to the Fanfic Majesty. If you want more content, you can follow me on Patreon. I will be uploading more content on there that will be exclusive. The link is in the description. Please support me. 12 SWTF Chapter 276 Previous Chapter Next Chapter Advertisement. Just as the two girls were wondering, in the next instant, Hanxing suddenly grabbed little Sakura's neck with his palm. Click. A crisp sound twisted little Sakura's neck directly. The two girls, Hinata and Ino, were stunned to see all this. Hanxing. How did you kill little Sakura? Ino covered his mouth in disbelief. The moment Ino said this, the little Sakura in Hanxing's hand instantly turned into a white figure. It is a white Zetsu clone. This is white Zetsu avatar? Exclaimed in surprise. Afterwards, he patted his chest. Who scared me to death? I thought you really killed little Sakura. Although Hinata didn't say anything, the nervousness on her face disappeared instantly, and she thought to herself that she was the one who blamed Hanxing. Hanxing. Isn't this what you just said? At this moment, thinking of what Hanxing said when he first arrived, Ino frowned. Advertisement. That's right. White Zetsu's transformation ability is very difficult for you to solve, but unfortunately none of you can Sage Body. For the safety of both of you, I can only come in person, Hanxing said helplessly. Then hurry up. Otherwise, the entire camp will be captured by white Zetsu later, Ino said quickly. Got it, Hanxing said, rubbing the hair of the two women, and the figures disappeared in place. After a while, white Zetsu, disguised as Konoha Shinobi, was killed one by Hanxing. Afterwards, Hanxing said goodbye to the two girls and left. Tonight's White Zetsu Night Attack is a small episode in the Ninja Alliance. The Fourth Ninja War is still breaking out. As the strong men of Impure World Reincarnation are sealed by the Ninja Alliance, the Ninja Alliance gradually has the upper hand. If that's the case, then I'll go, and it's time for Kabuto to do something for us, Black Zetsu said, turning into a black shadow and floating upwards. After passing through the layers of land, Black Zetsu revealed his brain from above. At this time, even if the snake Kabuto is vigilant towards Black Zetsu, it is not enough for Black Zetsu, the old yin, to control the time so well that he didn't even react. Orochi Kabuto said. His hands formed a mark, and at the moment when he formed the mark, Black Zetsu turned into an afterimage like lightning and attached itself to Orochi Kabuto. The Fourth Ninja War, the heart of the battlefield. Now, what they expect is that 8 tails can be well hidden. Otherwise, the ninja world may end. Then let's start. I also want to see what your cards are. Black Zetsu's gloomy face was full of anticipation. Advertisement. Not far away is the serpent Kabuto, who is controlling the Impure World Reincarnation Army. In the original book, Orochi Kabuto put a lot of effort into the Impure World Reincarnation to bring out all of Madara's strength, and the same is true for Black Zetsu today. In order to make Madara achieve perfect strength, he also spent a lot of effort. It is good. Well, no way. Summoning so many Impure World Reincarnation troops at once, I can't control them all. I can only let them have their own consciousness. This way, the weakness will be obvious. Orochi Kabuto smiled indifferently, and pushed. By the way, take a look at the frame in your eyes. Those powerhouses who were brought out by Impure World Reincarnation almost all have a keen sense, or a sixth sense, and can exert more than 120% of their strength under the condition of concentration. Good. But none of that matters. As long as Sasuke grows Rinnegan, none of it matters. Nothing. Just let you sleep. Don't worry. I won't do anything to you. Black Zetsu took half of Orochi Kabuto's face and said gloomily. Black Zetsu? Why are you here? Could it be that the attack on the daimyo of the major powers was successful? Orochi Kabuto looked at Black Zetsu in front of him, said indifferently, and then continued to stare at the chessboard in front of him. It stands to reason that the Orochi Kabuto has learned the magic of the Earth Dragon Cave, and he should be able to detect it. Who let him be watched by Black Zetsu, a 1,000-year-old yin ratio? The Earth Dragon's perception is still a little bit worse for Black Zetsu. It won't take long for Rinnegan to successfully activate Sasuke. The only pity is that when Obito wants to take out the chakra from Naruto's body, Sasuke stops him. Although the ninja immune to death and chakra in the state of Impure World Reincarnation are infinite, But there is still a weakness, that is, the body will not have any pain, not even the slightest feeling, which seems to be very strong, but becomes a weakness. And the cave where the two of them are located is below Kabuto's cave. Knowing this earlier, he would never let Senju Hashirama Four Shadows attack Konoha. Otherwise, with Senju Hashirama's ranged big move, he would definitely be able to play a big role at this time. But the ninjas from Impure World Reincarnation will not feel this way, and their reactions are relatively slow, which limits their strength. Advertisement. Moreover, the more important point is that the ninjas from Impure World Reincarnation have their own consciousness and will tell the ninja coalition how to defeat them. This weakness is obvious. Hey. Yes. Do you have any other signs? Hurry up and use it. Black Zetsu said that he had already floated in front of Orochi Kabuto's chessboard, and he was almost able to control Kabuto as if he were controlling Obito. No. Impossible. Orochi Kabuto said tremblingly, and Black Zetsu began to fight for the control and consciousness of the body. All right. There is just one absolute character. There were originally several. When I sent them to attack Konoha last time, they were defeated by Senju Han. Unfortunately, when I wanted to summoning them out today, they couldn't be summoned, said the big snake Kabuto, his face full of regret. How is Sasuke? White Zetsu asked sullenly. Oh, so what? Obito still didn't pull the Nine Tails chakra away. However, he was not so impatient. As an old Yinbi for many years, he naturally knew that the Orochi Kabuto had a lot of vigilance towards him at this time, so he could only take care of it slowly. In the dark cave, only Black-White Zetsu stayed here. The Ashura chakra in Naruto has been transferred into Sasuke through yin-yang escape, Black Zetsu said hoarsely. In the end, with the help of Jiraiya, the two defeated Sasuke together and sealed him, but at this moment, Uchiha Obito suddenly appeared. In addition, Naruto, the protagonist of the original book, even though he learned Sage Mode, still failed to defeat Uchiha Sasuke with Eternal Mangekyo in a heads-up situation. No, don't you come back and check the situation? I heard that the situation is very unfavorable for us. The Impure World Reincarnation Army you summoned is about to be sealed. Black Zetsu floated in front of Orochi Kabuto and said hoarsely. Jiraiya was injured, Naruto was captured by yin-yang escape, and Sasuke was taken away. This is the worst news for the Ninja Alliance. What do you want to do? Orochi Kabuto said with difficulty, feeling his consciousness being eroded by Black Zetsu. Chapter 277 Previous chapter Next chapter Advertisement. 2 hours later, the Orochi Kabuto was defeated, his body and consciousness were completely eroded by Black Zetsu, his eyes were closed, and he seemed to be in a coma. Is it done? White Zetsu stuck his head out of the ground and smiled. Just done. Let's start implementing our plan. Black Zetsu gave a sinister hoarse smile, and controlled the body of Orochi Kabuto, forming a seal again. Reanimation Jutsu. Boom. Boom. A rotten coffin sprang out from the ground, and at the same time the lid of the coffin fell to the ground, revealing the figure inside. This man is none other than the young Uchiha Madara. Uchiha Madara opened his eyes, walked out, and said calmly, "You guys have been around too long, what about that guy Obito?" As soon as I finished speaking, I felt the change in my body. It was not resurrected by Rinne Tensai technique. I frowned and said, "This is Impure World Reincarnation?" Black-White Zetsu. Tell me what's going on. Uchiha Madara said coldly. Sir Madara, your Rinnegan Nagato was not protected and was captured by Senju Han. But we have already thought about the follow-up plan, and the new Rinnegan will be successfully brewed soon. Therefore, we have to bring you Impure World Reincarnation out, and this body is specially prepared for you, allowing you to exert 100% of the strength of your original body. Advertisement. Hearing Black Zetsu's explanation, Uchiha Madara had a cold smile on his face. What if he took my Rinnegan? If it is transplanted, my means of staying in the Rinnegan will not fail. Yes. The problem is, Rinnegan seems to have been destroyed by Senju Han, White Zetsu said cautiously. Destroyed? He didn't have a transplant? Uchiha Madara was stunned for a moment, then a wild laughter appeared on his face, a laughter that looked down on the world unconsciously revealed. There was no trace of anger in my heart because Rinnegan was destroyed. Ha ha ha. As expected of someone I recognize except Hashirama. What I do is completely unexpected. So, you resurrect me. Are you all ready? Uchiha laughed and looked to Black-White Zetsu. Everything is almost ready. Except for 8 tails. 9 tails are already in hand, but because of Sasuke, they have not been absorbed by Gedo statue. Sasuke. What do you mean? That's it, Madara-sama. Then Black Zetsu informs Uchiha Madara of his plans. That is to say, this Sasuke is brewing Rinnegan now, shouldn't he anger him? Then wait for him to finish the brewing of Rinnegan. After waiting for so long, it doesn't matter so much, Uchiha Madara thought deeply, and then waved his hand with a cold and arrogant tone. Since it's brewing, is there any big trouble? Otherwise, you wouldn't revive me so hastily? Is it Senjuhan? Uchiha Madara has understood the current situation, put his hands in front of him, and said coldly. Black Zetsu shook his head. No, Madara-sama. Senjuhan has not yet shot our Impure World Reincarnation Army, and 10W White Zetsu will not be able to stop the ninja coalition formed by the 5 countries. We need your strong support ahead. Support them, delay the time, and let Sasuke successfully transform into Rinnegan. That's what it is. Advertisement. Uchiha Madara's eyes flashed with deep light, looking up into the distance. He could clearly feel the fluctuations of chakra not far away and the approximate number of ninjas. In the deep eyes, the ripples of Rinnegan appeared quietly. There was a trace of disdain on the corner of his mouth, and he snorted coldly. Since Rinnegan is still brewing and Senjuhan has not taken action, then I will go and play with these little devils first. After he finished speaking, he lightly stepped on his footsteps, and the whole person instantly turned into a red afterimage and disappeared in place, running towards the distant battlefield. Watching Uchiha Madara leave, Black Zetsu's face flashed a strange smile. Turning his head, he said to White Zetsu, Madara-sama has been resurrected. You go to control the wood-style ninja of Konoha. Go to the land of thunder and bring 8 tails Jinchuriki over. I haven't seen any information from Kisame for such a long time. It seems Kisame has failed. Okay. White Zetsu smiled and went underground. After confirming that White Zetsu was gone, Black Zetsu broke away from the body of the serpent Kabuto and flew into the distance. In a hidden underground cave not far from here, 2 figures lay unconscious here. To be precise, Naruto was in a coma and his whole body was sealed, while Sasuke fell into a deep sleep and merged with Ashura chakra. At this point, the 2 are still alive, and Naruto's 9 tails chakra is still there. The reason why they didn't draw is to wait for Sasuke's Rinnegan to complete the transformation. The current Gedo statue has absorbed the chakra of the 7 tails. If the chakra of the 9 tails is absorbed, the Gedo statue will not be transformed into the 10 tails, but it will undoubtedly anger Sasuke. If at this time, anger him and not merge with Ashura chakra, then his plan will really be in vain. Although Sasuke was merging in his deep sleep, he couldn't feel any movement around him, but Black Zetsu still didn't dare to gamble. After all, he had been living for thousands of years, and there was no need to cause failure for such a trivial matter. Advertisement. As long as it succeeds, it's only a little time, and he can wait. In the original book, Orochimaru did the job of cultivating Sasuke, but was finally swallowed by Sasuke's Sharingan. On the other hand, he is not Orochimaru. He knows Indra, and Ashura also knows Sage of 6 Paths Otsutsuki Hagoromo, and knows everything that happens in the ninja world. Knows too much, so from the beginning he has his hands on Sasuke. Sasuke is under his control from beginning to end. Although there are some accidents now, but, as long as Sasuke gives birth to Rinnegan, these accidents are nothing in his eyes. Walking in front of Naruto and Sasuke, Black Zetsu stared at them with a grim expression, his eyes dark and deep. It seems that I saw through the bodies of the 2, and I saw Indra and Ashura chakra flowing in their bodies. From chakra, I seemed to see Indra and Ashura himself. Indra, Ashura, Jia. Yui, to guide you my 2 sons, I spent a lot of time, but, it's all worth it, and it's about to end mode. The 3rd battlefield. The Ninja Alliance is fighting with 1st Mizukage and 2nd Mizukage and 2nd Tsuchikage. Now the battle has come to an end. 1st Mizukage and 2nd Mizukage have been sealed, and only second Tsuchikage is left. As for the white Zetsu clone, they have been beaten to pieces. Leading the team are 3rd Tsuchikage Onogi and 5th Mizukage Terumi Mei. Chapter 278 Previous chapter Next chapter Advertisement. With the cooperation of the two, together with a large number of ninja coalition forces, and the command of Nara Shikahisa behind the scenes, the situation has been completely controlled here. In the end, Onogi found an opportunity and blasted the 2nd Tsuchikage away with a single move, and the people from the SEAL class quickly rushed up to seal it. Tsuchikage-sama is really old and strong. His strength has not diminished at all, Terumi Mei praised. Where? Oyemu wiped the sweat on his forehead. I'm going to beat my old waist again. That being said, I am very happy in my heart. After all, I defeated the first 2 generations of Cage level and my master. Does this mean that my strength has surpassed them? As for Terumi Mei and other ninjas next to them, they're just support, and the main attack is me. Terumi Mei smiled and thought to herself, what's the point of being proud? No matter how strong she is, isn't it being hammered on the ground by my husband? However, she just thought about these words in her heart, and just as she was about to speak, and then praise Oyegi, an indifferent voice floated into the arena. Liang Onogi for 2 days. You little brat has grown a lot. You can even defeat 2nd Tsuchikage. This voice made Terumi Mei stunned, calling out that Onogi was a kid, and there was no doubt that it was a shadow from the previous generation, which seemed to be troublesome again. But Terumi Mei didn't notice that after hearing the voice, Onogi's face changed drastically, a hint of horror, and a look of panic unconsciously showed in his eyes. Drops of cold sweat spilled out unconsciously on his forehead, and his whole body was soaked in the blink of an eye. This voice, he will never forget, it has even become his nightmare. He did not expect that the other party even reincarnated him. Advertisement turning around, Onogi saw a mountain like mushrooms, Uchiha Madara with arms around his chest, long hair fluttering, looking down at them with contempt. It really is him. At the moment when he saw that person, Oyemu's pupils shrank for a while, and he sighed inwardly, this is going to be troublesome. He floated up and frowned. I didn't expect that they could even reincarnate you. I remember when you fought with Senju Han, didn't your whole body turn into ashes? How could you still be summoned out? Naturally there are some backhands left. Backhand? Onogi was stunned for a moment, then sneered, what about backhand? Isn't it being manipulated by someone behind the scenes? At this moment, Onogi seemed to have forgotten the horror of Uchiha Madara. Humph. Do you think a mere impure world reincarnation can control me? How naive, Uchiha Madara snorted coldly. Looking at Oyemu, his face turned cold. How dare you speak to me in such a tone? It seems that you forgot to tremble under my murderous intent. After the words fell, Uchiha Madara jumped down and quickly formed a seal with both hands. At the same time, he said flatly to Onogi, it's time to remind you of my horror, Onogi kid. Fire style. The fire is extinguished. The scorching temperature made the surrounding air feel a little anxious. Yes. With a sharp face, he ordered, immediately notify the 1st, 2nd, and 4th troops to go to support. Damn it. Tsunade clenched her silver teeth and slammed her fist on the table in front of her in anger. Her strength was well controlled, and she didn't break the table. Who else is there? Hokage of all dynasties, after me. The thunderbolt that merged with yin and yang can't be reincarnated. The only one, of course, is Uchiha Madara of the same era as your grandfather. Advertisement, so strong. This is really fire style? Isn't it a sea of fire? You really guessed it. He glared at Hanxing, command. A perception ninja suddenly raised his head with a look of shock on his face. The people here are all elites, and they are not unfamiliar with this name, but they are like thunder, after all. They're people of the same era as Senju Hashirama, the god of the ninja world. Uchiha Madara appeared on the battlefield, engaging the 3rd unit. The ninja below immediately spoke up and went to issue an order. Immediately after the exclamation, accurate information from the front line came. After being shocked, the sensory ninja immediately reported to Tsunade and Hanxing. Tsunade was also very surprised when he heard it. Looking at your flat face, do you know who this person just appeared? Tsunade turned his head to look at Hanxing, frowning. Look at how confident you are. Then I won't shoot. Madara will be handed over to you. Hanxing shrugged and said indifferently. Boom. Sister Tsunade. Let Hanxing do it, anyway, he is idle here. Besides, hasn't he defeated Uchiha Madara once? If he beats once, it's not a problem. Kushina came up and suggested. The strength of the cage levels of the past dynasties has been very strong, but there is a person who is stronger than the cage levels of all dynasties. Who will this person be? In the distance, the faces of the ninja coalition forces showed horror. Advertisement. A huge flame spewed out of Uchiha Madara's mouth, and the moment it appeared, it turned into a sea of red fire, directly covering the surrounding dozens of meters. Even if they were far away, they could feel the heat in the distance, as if their hair had curled up under the heat. As soon as the name appeared, the atmosphere of the audience instantly solidified. It was like a big summer suddenly became a cold winter. If Hanxing leaves, who can guarantee that he will not attack you? You must know that Sharingan is the nemesis of your tailed beasts. Tsunade shook his head, his face serious. This? What is this? No, Hanxing's mission is to protect you. If he does it, who will protect you? Don't forget, the other leader of Shao's organization, the mysterious masked man, hasn't appeared yet. A huge sensory water ball was suspended in the center of the headquarters, and at the next moment, huge ripples suddenly appeared on this sensory water ball. The current Madara is not yet 10 tails Jinchuriki. Even if Rinnegan is enabled, his strength is at most stronger than Dazuzi. For him, there is nothing to be afraid of. What? You said that Uchiha Madara was reincarnated? Tsunade exclaimed in shock at Hanxing's words. This chakra, much more than the previous cage level. After a pause, he said confidently, don't forget, in this battle, the 5 shadows are all present. This fire style. This was because Uchiha Madara had just been reincarnated and wanted to get used to this body. Who knew that he used a ninjutsu casually, which had already shocked the audience. Chapter 279. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Since Tsunade wants to use the 5 shadows to deal with Madara, let her try. The big deal is that they lose, and they are trying to solve it themselves. Water style. Water barrier. Water style. Water rush. Water style. Big waterfall technique. More than a dozen ninjas cast water style together, turning into a rush of water, facing Uchiha Madara's fire style. ZZ. ZZ. The fire and water blended together, making a rustling sound, and a large white mist surged wildly in all directions. After a while, Uchiha Madara's fire style disappears. The water style ninja in the distance let out a long breath, and drops of cold sweat appeared on his forehead. The water style exerted by their dozen or so ninjas can withstand the fire style exerted by Uchiha Madara, who is worthy of being a legendary figure. At this moment, Terumi Mei behind him suddenly shot, and the reason why she didn't block it just now was because she wanted to save chakra, knowing that the leader of the opposing leader, the initiator of the 4th battle, has been missing, so 100 healings mark will naturally be used at the end. Boil style. Xiaowu technique. With her bright red lips slightly parted, Terumi Mei took a deep breath, her belly swelled, and a large white mist suddenly spewed out. This white mist with a scorching temperature, instantly merged with the water vapor compatible with water and fire, and rushed towards Uchiha Madara not far away. At this time, Uchiha Madara had just rushed into the crowd and was about to show off his fists. At this moment, he frowned, stopped, and looked at the white mist not far away, and he naturally saw at a glance that it was Boil style. Advertisement. Is this Boil style? So, that girl is the Mizukage of Kirigakir's generation? Humph. This level of Boil style is much worse than first Mizukage. Uchiha Madara snorted coldly, her dark blue skeleton instantly wrapped it, and a giant hand burning with dark blue flames appeared in front of Uchiha out of thin air. Hum. The powerful hurricane suddenly turned into a huge wind blade, directly tearing the white mist not far away in half. This dark blue skeleton is Susanoo of Uchiha Madara. Good chance. Onogi, who had appeared in the sky at an unknown time, murmured excitedly. Hands clasped together, chakra surged on the body. A huge beam of light descended from the sky with the aura of destruction, and the target was Uchiha Madara below. Dust escape. Boundary stripping technique, hum. The white beam of light is extremely holy, like purifying the filth of the world, but at the moment when it falls, only the first stage Susanoo is directly swallowed up by it, erasing everything. Unabated, he bombarded Uchiha Madara. Seeing this scene, Terumi Mei and the other ninjas couldn't help showing a hint of joy, and some ninjas even shouted loudly. However, in the next moment, everyone's expressions instantly froze, and they stayed in place. Because Uchiha Madara was standing here so calmly, with one hand raised, the dust above touched Madara's palm, and it was like the sea breaking a bank, rushing towards Madara's palm frantically. "Are you here? That's fine. Then we'll hold on until they arrive." Oyemu stood up tremblingly and said solemnly. Advertisement. How? How is it possible? It was somewhat unexpected that his dust escape had no effect on Uchiha Madara. "It's here." As soon as Onogi's voice fell, a rough voice came from a distance, from far to near, and when the last word fell, a figure had appeared in front of Onogi and Terumi Mei. Looking at Uchiha Madara in the distance, he felt that it was a huge mountain that could not be crossed. He had only seen this kind of momentum in two people. One was Senjuhan and the other was Uchiha Madara. "Why hasn't the support come yet? We can't hold it anymore." After absorbing the dust, Uchiha Madara slowly put her raised right hand back to her chest, and looked at Onogi in the sky with a flat face. "Onogi has grown a lot since I haven't seen you for so many years, but that's all I can do." Inomu looked at the scene in front of him. A drop of cold sweat appeared on his forehead, looking at the surrounding ninja coalition forces. His face was ashen with anger. Good. The big wild wood in the distance fell to the ground, and suddenly the dust splashed around, forming a small pothole. The surrounding ninja allied forces were also slashed by Susanoo's blue flame long sword, crushing all directions. "Mizukage. Report to the headquarters. Let people come to support. We are not his opponents at all," Onogi said solemnly. Boom. You know, even Uchiha Madara's Susanoo is not immune to his dust escape. But Uchiha Madara can be immune or absorbed with one hand. He has never heard of this ability. While speaking, Uchiha Madara's whole body chakra surging, the blue skeleton was formed instantly, and the giant hand burning with dark blue flame was like a swatter, and slapped Onogi into the distance. "Lord Tsuchikage. The headquarters is fully aware of the matter here. Commander Hokage has dispatched the first unit, the second unit, and the fourth unit to come here," an intelligence officer behind him said solemnly. The ground suddenly cracked, and a long sword mark appeared suddenly, forming a long crack. Advertisement. In the next instant, Susanoo swung the blue flame sword continuously, one after another of sword energy, shattering the entire battlefield. She. Boom. Madara, who was not far away, snorted coldly, and the controller Susanoo's second form, waving the blue flame long sword in his hand, suddenly slashed towards Oyemu and the others not far away. "Is that the one who beat you up like this?" Fourth Hokage then pointed. In the blink of an eye, the beam of destruction that could wipe out everything was absorbed by Madara's hand. This person is none other than Fourth Hokage, who came from another battlefield. Tsuchikage-sama's dust escape has been absorbed. Pulling it out, Uchiha controlled himself in Susanoo. A look of disdain appeared on the corner of his mouth. Uchiha Madara's palm came without fear, madly swallowing the white beam of light in front of him. Seeing this, Terumi Mei flashed in front of Onogi. "Tsuchikage? Are you okay?" He looked coldly at Uchiha Madara in the distance, with a hint of irritability in his voice. "The battle on my side has ended, and I am entering the finishing touches. I heard that you are in trouble, so I will rush over first." Humph. Onogi shook his head and stood up from the inside. A mouthful of blood was not spitting out of his own, and he looked at Uchiha Madara's eyes with deep fear. When some ninjas saw this, they couldn't help but scream in horror. Damn! How can this guy be so strong? Onogi and Terumi Mei looked at each other, shocked in their hearts, and hurriedly avoided both sides, while commanding those ninja coalition forces to attack Uchiha Madara, delaying time and waiting for the arrival of support. Chapter 280. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. That's right. It's him, Fourth Hokage. Don't underestimate him. I was there when Uchiha Madara fought against Senjuhan. It wasn't me who hit you. The battle was just the aftermath, and even the cage-level powerhouses couldn't bear it. Tsunade-ji sent you here. I guess it's enough. Onogi said with a serious expression. Humph. Oh Yemu. How can you grow other people's ambition and destroy your own prestige? Do you think that the four of us together can't destroy a single Uchiha Madara? Fourth Raikage snorted dissatisfiedly. At this time, Uchiha Madara in Susanoo heard Fourth Raikage's words, with disdain and contempt in her eyes. He laughed loudly. Ha 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 ha. Just you shrimp soldiers and crab generals, you want to kill me Uchiha Madara? A group of ants don't know how high the sky is. While Uchiha Madara was laughing, Gaara and Tsunade appeared in front of Onogi, only slightly slower than Raikage. It's good to say that Gaara arrived. After all, the four battlefields are not very far away, but Tsunade is different. In order to reach the front line quickly, she directly asked Mabui to use the heavenly delivery technique of the headquarters. The Tianshu technique is the secret space technique of Cloud Shinobi Village, which is now only controlled by Linen, and instantly teleports the target to the designated location through high-speed movement. Because the high-speed movement will produce violent friction with the air, the ordinary human body will be torn apart because it cannot keep up with the too fast transmission. Therefore, the Tianshu technique is usually used by Cloud Shinobi Village to convey items. And the one who successfully delivered it to the designated location with the sky sending technique. There is only third Raikage in the history of Cloud Shinobi Village, and now there is one more, that is Tsunade. At this time, Tsunade, 100 Healings mark is fully open, and is trying to recover from his injury. After seeing the arrival of Tsunade Raikage and Gaara's 3 shadows, and the 5 shadows gathered together, Onogi's tense mood calmed down a little, and even regained the confidence he had just lost. Yes. They are the 5 shadows, the 5 shadows of the 5 kingdoms. Couldn't the gathering of the 5 shadows solve a dead person? At this moment, Onogi looked at Uchiha Madara and was not completely invincible. In the dust, the 5 shadows gathered and confronted Uchiha Madara from afar, and the ordinary ninja hid behind the 5 shadows, and they were no longer able to intervene here. Advertisement Uchiha Madara stood quietly in the middle of Susanoo, not looking sideways because of the increasing number of ninjas, but carefully staring at the 5 figures lining up below. A smile appeared on the corner of his mouth, with arrogance and indifference. Interesting. The 5 of you appearing together may attract a little interest in me. Since Senju Han doesn't show up, let's try the 5 of you. Humph. Arrogant. Now that the 5 shadows are gathered together, they dare to say such a thing. Let this old man see how qualified you are to say this. Fourth Raikage has the most irritable character. Although he knows that his opponent is Uchiha Madara and that he is very powerful, he has never fought before, so he does not panic at all. Just a word, that's it. Finished. Thunder flashes all over the body. Lightning-style chakra mode is instantly happy. The whole person disappears in place, and appears in front of Uchiha Madara's Susanoo in an instant like a teleport. The iron fist slammed down heavily on Susa above Madara's head. Recurrent violence. Boom. When the two collided, the violent energy on the iron fist erupted instantly, like a volcanic eruption, and the powerful force made people tremble. Hum. Bang. Fourth Raikage's whole body was smashed into the distance by this punch. Below, Uchiha Madara looked up at Fourth Raikage above, and said in a flat tone, "Is it only this amount of strength? It's too weak. Compared with the older generation, you are really inferior to the next generation." This time, with the blessing of third Tsuchikage, Susanoo in the second stage can no longer defend against Fourth Raikage's attack. At this moment, he put away his anger towards Uchiha Madara and replaced it with a solemn look on his face. The sword light fell, and in an instant, on the blue flame long sword, the sword energy flickered, directly splitting the ground below into a long crack. Advertisement, Earth Style, Super, Weighted Rock Technique. In the next instant, before Fourth Raikage had recovered, another giant blue flame hand turned into a fist and punched Fourth Raikage's abdomen. A small crack appeared on the top of the huge Susanoo, and then it got bigger and bigger, and finally burst open. Boom. Hee hee. A bunch of trash. Uchiha Madara, who was standing in Susanaka, looked at the 5 shadows in the distance and smiled disdainfully. At the same time, fourth Raikage yelled, "That's it." He said solemnly, "Be careful. That blue energy is not generally strong in protection." Click. Click. Quickly seal with both hands, drink a light drink, lava style. Dissolving monster technique. The blue flame sword turned, and the blue sword glow swept away towards the five shadows. Uchiha Madara, who was standing in Suzunaka, shook his head a little, with a hint of disappointment in his eyes. The direct manipulator Susanoo crossed his arms, and the cross-shaped sword energy suddenly fell towards Terumi Mei. Terumi Mei's face changed slightly, and her figure disappeared in a flash. This level of magic. Advertisement feeling this edge, even with the lightning code and the lightning style body forging secret technique, and the fourth Raikage inherited from third Raikage, he didn't dare to resist, and could only dodge to the side to avoid this blow. Raikage and Onogi suddenly appeared above Susanoo. In the next instant, the black curse mark on Terumi Mei's face filled, 100 healings mark was instantly released, and the huge chakra was like a galloping river filling up the chakra consumed by him in the blink of an eye. The other arm holding the blue flame sword suddenly fell towards the bottom. Wow! Lateral bolt of pain. What? Fourth Raikage exclaimed. The huge blue flame sword has not yet fallen, and a sharp edge that seems to cut everything is headed down. But such a terrifying giant fist slammed on the blue Susanoo, causing Susanoo to tremble slightly, and then it returned to its original shape, leaving not even a single crack. This is the case for fourth Raikage, which focuses on forging, not to mention the other four shadows. Therefore, at the moment when the blade fell, the four of them stepped to one side without hesitation, dodging the blow. Fourth Raikage's hand knife is slashed down, from the beginning to the end, and the entire Susanoo is divided into two. When it fell to the ground, there was a roar, and the soil splashed everywhere. Fourth Raikage came from inside, and his figure flashed in front of the other four shadows. Fourth Raikage's full blow, coupled with the super heavy rock technique blessed by third Tsuchikage, smashed Susanoo's head fiercely. Terumi Mei's red lips were slightly open, and a strong corrosive liquid spewed out of her mouth, like a turbulent wave, directly covering Uchiha Madara's Susanoo. Boom! Chapter 281 Previous chapter Next chapter Advertisement. Such a fit. Nice. Uchiha Madara praised, put down the ring on his chest and put his hands on his chest. The whole figure dodged, dodging the combined attack of Raikage and the two of them, jumping forcefully, several flashes, and came to the highest point of a huge rock. His eyes were still looking down at the five shadows below. Onogi and others broke through Uchiha Madara's Susanoo, and after forcing Uchiha Madara to retreat, there was a trace of excited smiles on their faces, so it seems that Uchiha Madara is not invincible. Lord Raikage. Lord Tsuchikage. Hooray! Seeing this scene, the ordinary ninjas in the distance seemed to feel that the five shadows had completely suppressed Uchiha Madara, and they all shouted with joy. Indeed, standing here is the five shadows at the top of the ninja world. No matter how powerful Uchiha Madara is, he is just a dead person. I will try to take it down in one go. This is not only the idea of these ordinary ninjas, but also the idea of the five shadows present. But, Uchiha Madara, standing on the top of the rock and overlooking the ninja below, seems to have seen everything. There was a hint of sarcasm on his face, and those eyes showed indifference that seemed to be above the ninja world, as if they did not belong to mortals. You think you've won? Since that's the case, let's let you experience despair? He murmured, and the chakra on his body suddenly rose up, like a chakra tide, and the blue Susanoo suddenly rose up on him and wrapped it. But, this time, instead of holding a blue flame sword, Susanoo formed the shape of 3 heads and 6 arms, and together with Uchiha Madara inside, began to seal. Quietly. The bright sky suddenly turned dark. Those ninjas who were cheering because the 5 shadows suppressed Uchiha Madara, the next one looked up to the sky. Advertisement in the next moment, his expression suddenly became frozen and sluggish. Boom. At this time, the sound of the weapon falling to the ground was not one, but a large sound. At this moment, how many people fell to the ground because they couldn't hold the weapon without knowing it? Everyone looked up at the sky, and felt that their bodies were sore and weak, and they couldn't raise any strength, as if they were sucked by the female ghost in an instant. Just kidding. Is it really that people can have independent power? In the sky where everyone looked up, a terrifying meteorite that was so huge that it covered the sky and the sun suddenly fell from the sky. Where is this meteorite? It is clearly a star falling. The huge meteorite has not yet fallen, and the terrifying air pressure has already fallen, making everyone feel that their bodies are sinking and their breathing is difficult. At this moment, whether it was the 5 shadows present or the ninjas in the distance, they all looked at the huge meteor in the sky in horror. This meteorite is most familiar to Onogi and Tsunade. The two saw the terrifying battle between Hanxing and Uchiha Madara more than 10 years ago, and they had this trick. At that time, they were just watching from a distance, so it didn't feel very big, but now they have experienced it for themselves, and only then did they know how terrifying pressure Senju Han was facing at that time. This kind of coercion is not at the same level at all. Is that guy's full strength? At this moment, Terumi Mei murmured. Looking up at the sky, and at the Uchiha Madara on the rock not far away overlooking them, the corners of the scarlet mouth were full of bitterness. This kind of strength, I am afraid that Hanxing's husband can fight against G. Advertisement. Is this the power of God that can only be exerted by having Rinnegan? Inomu opened his mouth unconsciously, looking at the meteorite like a small star in the sky. He felt how small and powerless he was. While powerless, Onogi also remembered that Hanxing turned into a thunder giant, a thunderbolt that slashed the meteorite in half with one sword. It was only at this moment that he realized how insignificant the so-called 5 shadows were in front of the powerhouses like Hanxing and Madara. No wonder Uchiha Madara has been looking at them with disdain since the fight until now. Because the two are not on the same level at all. The Ninja Allied Forces headquarters sensed the crazy vibration of the water polo, and all the sensing ninjas sitting around had sluggish expressions, and their eyes were full of disbelief. Report, Lord Hanxing. The location of the 3rd unit, the battlefield where Uchiha Madara and Lord 5 Shadows are located, has a meteorite that is enough to cover the sky. Really? I thought he wouldn't use this method? A smile appeared on the corner of Hanxing's mouth. Looking at the ninja who reported to him, a cold sweat broke out on his forehead, and his eyes were full of disbelief. Sun Ran smiled. Okay. I know. You go first. Yes? Lord Hanxing. After speaking, the intelligence officer left in a hurry. Hanxing. Are you going? Kushina walked up to Hanxing and said softly. No way if you don't go. With Tsunade's strength, they may be able to stop at once, but the second time it's probably hanging. Hanxing shook his head with an equal expression. I'll accompany you. Kushina gritted her teeth. No need, for your safety. You should enter my different dimension first. I don't want something to happen to you after I leave. Hanxing rubbed Kushina's red and smooth hair and said softly. Advertisement, okay. Kushina nodded without hesitation. She knew that the Fourth World War had basically reached its late stage, and she didn't want to drag Hanxing back. Sorry. Saying that, with a wave of his right hand, the surrounding space ripples, and a huge spatial vortex appears in front of the two of them. Hanxing pulled Kushina, and the two walked into it. After a while, Hanxing came out again, and the space vortex in front of him gradually dissipated. Facing Lu Ju not far away, he said, Lu Ju, after I leave, this place will be handed over to you. Got it. You can go in peace. Lu Ju and Hai Yi, as well as Mabui and other high IQ talents, nodded. In the next instant, Hanxing's figure flashed and suddenly disappeared in place. It was time for him to enter the arena. At the same time, in the dark cave, faint green candles flickered here, and some scenes here can be vaguely seen. A huge and strange statue like the dead branches of an old tree stands here. This is the Ghetto statue. At this moment, the surrounding space rippled and turned into a space vortex. Uchiha Obito and White Zetsu wearing masks walked in dragging a figure. I said why didn't you show up after the war? It turned out to be looking for 8 Tails Jinchuriki. White Zetsu controlled Yamato and said with a smile. Don't talk nonsense. Madara has been reincarnated, which means that the 4th battle has reached the end stage. First draw out the chakra of 8 Tails Jinchuriki, Obito said flatly. Chapter 282 Previous chapter Next chapter Advertisement. It is good. While speaking, Obito's hands began to seal, and the red chakra belonging to the tailed beast was beginning to flow into Geto's statue. 1 hour, 2 hours, until 3 hours later, the chakra of 8 tails Jinchuriki Gyuki was devoured by Geto's statue. The tailed beast chakra is drawn out, and Killer Bee is just like the original Gaara, completely dead. Throwing Killer Bee's body into the distance, Uchiha turned his head to look at White Zetsu. Has Sasuke's Rinnegan finished? I don't know, Black Zetsu is dealing with this. White Zetsu shook his head. You go to block a Genin coalition first. I'll go see if Uchiha Sasuke's Rinnegan has awakened, and if he does, he'll be useless. Understood, White Zetsu said, slowly sinking into the ground. Uchiha Obito is heading towards Sasuke. The dark space fell into silence again. On the battlefield, the meteorite that covered the sky, with unparalleled power, fell from the sky with a mighty crash. At this time, the 5 shadows finally reacted, and Onogi said loudly, "It's not the time to give up. You can't do nothing and make a direct appointment, right?" Onogi's loud shouts caused the other 4 shadows to wake up from their shock and regain their fighting spirit. Terumi Mei shouted loudly, causing the surrounding ninjas to leave quickly. Advertisement then, join the battle group, this time cannot be without her. Afterwards, the 5 shadows stood together again, looked at the meteorite in the sky, took a deep breath, the confusion in their eyes disappeared, and they showed their full strength. Water style. Vortex water blade. Terumi Mei shouted. One by one, the compressed helical threads run towards the top. A trace of cracks appeared on the huge meteorite. Gaara is manipulating the surrounding sand and turning it into 2 huge giant hands to block the falling of the meteorite. The same is true for Onogi. First, he performed an earth-style ninjutsu, and then he flew to the meteorite, using the ultra-light and heavy rock technique to block the speed of the meteorite's descent. Tsunade and 4th Raikage are more simple. They fly into the sky, use their strange force and thunder and lightning punches, and bombard the meteorite violently, trying to destroy it. The 5 cage levels joined forces to attack. Even if this meteorite was too huge, it was just an ordinary meteorite after all, not steel. Under the constant bombardment of several people, there was finally a tendency for it to shatter. Click. Click. Moments later, more and more cracks in the meteorite. Boom. Finally, when the land was so lost, after the 5 shadows' disdainful efforts, the meteorite that covered the sky was blasted into pieces by 5 people. Like a meteor shower, the small gravel fell to the ground, making a slight sound. Along with the monstrous dust, it filled the surroundings, covering all the people around. For the dust, everyone didn't care, but said happily, "Okay. Stop it." Advertisement, as expected of Lord 5 Shadows. Onogi and the others also had expressions of excitement on their faces, and felt that the meteorite released by Uchiha Madara was nothing more than that, and Uchiha Madara was not invincible, and their 5 shadows still had a good chance of defeating Uchiha Madara. Uchiha Madara has been standing there silently, watching the meteorite that 5 shadows desperately bombard him, and he has no intention of shooting. Even if the 5 shadows smashed the meteorite, he has no intention of shooting. Just watching them quietly, like watching a group of clowns performing. Looking at the excited 5 shadows below, Uchiha Madara's face was flat, and there was a hint of abuse in her figure. How capable? This meteorite was actually smashed by you. What about 2, 3? Hearing Uchiha Madara's words, the excited expressions of the 5 people suddenly solidified again. A little bit disbelieving their ears, they looked to the sky subconsciously. Under the clouds, another meteorite of the same size as before appeared above the heads of the 5 people. And what is even more terrifying is that this meteorite just fell from the cloud, and it can be clearly open to see that there is a huge meteorite above the meteorite, and the 2 meteorites are almost connected in a straight line. This scene was so exaggerated that the allied ninjas in the distance were almost stunned. Their bodies were covered in cold sweat, and their clothes were soaked unknowingly. The same was true for the 5 shadows present. The horror in their eyes was hard to hide, and they finally felt the difference between heaven and earth, which was completely insurmountable. The 5 of them together are no match for Uchiha Madara, and the 2 are not on the same level at all. This can no longer be solved by quantity. In essence, the 2 are not on the same order of magnitude, Just like ants and elephants, the gap is too large, and there is no comparison at all. On Uchiha Madara, the chakra fluctuations subsided at this time. If it is normal, it will definitely not be like this. Now it is the state of impure world reincarnation. Chakra is infinite, just do whatever you want. He likes to watch these people the most. He thought he saw hope, but suddenly became desperate. The expression of the 5 shadows below was very useful to him. Back then, he actually had the strength to crush Mizukage, Tsuchikage and others. But he couldn't crush the 5 shadows, because there was a first Hokage, Senju Hashirama in the 5 shadows. Advertisement: he wanted to crush the ninja world with his own power, but he couldn't. But now, Senju Hashirama is dead. The so-called 5 shadows, the so-called ninja coalition, in his eyes, is nothing but a jerk, not worth mentioning. The only thing worthy of his attention was Senju Han, who never showed up from beginning to end. When he defeated him at the beginning, he still remembers it as if it were yesterday. At this moment, bursts of white light swayed from Uchiha Madara's body. Uchiha Madara frowned. Is this? Has the master of impure world reincarnation been eliminated? What a waste. Looking down at the white light on Uchiha Madara's body, there was a glimmer of hope on the faces of Wying and the others. After fighting so many ninjas of impure world reincarnation, you naturally know what that white light is. That is the sign that impure world reincarnation people are going to the Pure Land and perishing. The state of Uchiha Madara was not only seen by the 5 shadows, but also by ordinary ninjas in the distance. That's it. Impure world reincarnation unlocked logo. Uchiha Madara is going to the Pure Land, so we are safe. So, are we safe to live? Some ninjas cheered loudly. Not only the ninjas in the distance cheered, but even the 5 shadows in front of them were filled with excitement. Seeing Uchiha Madara impure world reincarnation's body begins to dissipate and the soul gradually ascends to heaven. Uchiha Madara sneered, with disdain in his eyes. His hands quickly formed a seal, looked down, and shouted, "Solution." Chapter 283. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. As Uchiha Madara's voice fell, in an instant, the white light that enveloped Uchiha Madara's body began to dissipate, and Uchiha Madara's body returned to its original appearance again. The ninja coalition not far away saw this, the mouth that grew up in the mouth, and the eyes returned to the color of horror again. How is it possible? Impure world reincarnation was unlocked by him. It's over, one after another, the soul was lost, and the voice of frustration came from the surrounding ninjas. Ahead, the happy 5 shadows were the same, terrified. Madara's various methods once again broke their cognition. The impure world reincarnation can be solved by himself, really? Onoji's eyes widened and he murmured. Uchiha Madara put his arms around his chest and looked down, with a hint of disdain in his aloof voice. The ninja of impure world reincarnation, as long as they know the hand gesture of releasing the seal, they can control impure world reincarnation. He still didn't say a word, that is, the person behind the scenes was already in a coma and didn't control his consciousness. Otherwise, no matter how strong he was, he still couldn't solve it. Gaara looked at the black shadow that was getting bigger and bigger in the sky, and said in a flat voice, "Now is not the time to be in a daze. Let's solve the meteorite in the sky first." "Can we really solve it?" Onogi asked in a disappointed voice. Tsuchikage. "This is not something that a cage level can say. Even if you die in battle. Try it out, so that you won't lose face when you die in the Pure Land," Fourth Hokage said irritably. Advertisement, understood. It really shouldn't be in this tone, Onogi said. His confidence burned again, and he looked at Uchiha Madara, and the meteorite in the sky was not too afraid. The big deal was death. At his age, he really lived long enough, and died a little more heroically. Wow. The space in front of the 5 shadows suddenly swayed with ripples, and Hanxing walked out of the vortex indifferently. A faint voice spread throughout the battlefield. "Madara. This kind of bullying of children will stop here." Seeing this figure, Uchiha Madara's unwavering face began to change violently, the look of disdain began to disappear, and he became solemn. "It's finally here." After hearing this voice, the 5 shadows in front of them each breathed a sigh of relief, as if they had turned around from hell. their whole bodies were surrounded by cold sweat. At the same time, the corners of his mouth were full of bitterness. They thought they could resist Uchiha Madara before, but they thought too much, and people were just making fun of them as clowns. Do you dare to believe that the 5 shadows of all dynasties joined together for the first time and was teased? This is not bullying children. Since they bear the title of Kage level, they should bear the strength of this title, otherwise, it's just a joke. Uchiha Madara shook his head, put his hands around his chest, and looked down flatly. Hanxing. After a pause, Uchiha Madara stretched out his hand and pointed to the sky, and at the same time, there was a hint of arrogance on his face. But, since you are here, if you want to protect them, let's solve the above things first. This body is suitable for White Zetsu and the others specially prepared for him. Although it is in the state of impure world reincarnation, it can display all the strength of the body, and with the addition of infinite chakra, it is even higher than the original body. To be honest, the last time he lost to Hanxing, he was not unwilling. At that time, his body was old. Although he used ultimate sublimation, his body returned to its peak. But there are also 2 shortcomings. One is that the time is too short, and the other is that his Rinnegan is not in his eyes. It is said that it is the peak, but it is only the peak when fighting Hashirama. Advertisement without Rinnegan and with Rinnegan, the difference between the two is not that big. Listening to Uchiha Madara's words, Hanxing laughed. It seems that Uchiha Madara has a great opinion on the so-called 5 shadows, and is very upset. Also, at the beginning, both Uchiha Madara and Senju Hashirama had the strength to suppress the ninja world, but Senju Hashirama, a foolish man, wanted to negotiate with other ninja villages. By the way, pressing him down, preventing him from ruling the ninja world, or even preventing him. How should I put it? Senju Hashirama is like Naruto, too simple and honest, too naive, always thinking of developing on the better side. If Hashirama followed Madara's advice and unified the ninja world could develop peacefully for at least 100 years, and the ninja war would not break out. A pity. Maybe it's all because of Ashura's chakra in Senju Hashirama's body. Since I have said that this is a trick to bully children, it is not in my eyes at all. Hanxing smiled lightly, chakras surging on his body, black and white particles gathered around Hanxing, and 5 dark purple-tailed beast bomb spiral shuriken quietly condensed. Hanxing waved it casually. Whoosh whoosh, 5-tailed beast bomb shuriken slammed towards the meteorite above. Boom. 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 A huge roar from above resounded throughout the battlefield. 2 huge meteorites were smashed into rubble by 5-tailed beast bomb shuriken in an instant, and fell to the ground as a rain of rubble. Advertisement. The monstrous dust filled the surroundings again, and the south, north and west could not be seen clearly, and the surroundings were chaotic. Hanxing frowned and waved his right hand again. A hurricane suddenly rose from the surrounding area, blowing the surrounding smoke into the distance, and in an instant, the surrounding area of the battlefield became clear and bright again. Onogi, 4th Raikage, and Gaara looked at Hanxing in horror, looking at the disappearing meteorite, feeling like they were dreaming again. Especially the dark purple energy ball in Hanxing's hands. They will never see it wrong. That is tailed beast bomb, definitely tailed beast bomb. Unexpectedly, Senju Han can even control the tailed beast bomb, and not 1, but 5. 5-tailed beast bombs. The power is unimaginable. You must know that the tailed beast bomb attacked their village, but it was only 1. What about Hanxing? 1 shot is 5. It is also an upgraded version of tailed beast bomb, mixed with the wind attribute chakra. The 3 looked up at Uchiha Madara, and then at Hanxing. A feeling of powerlessness emanated from their bodies. At this moment, they finally understood why Hanxing said that Uchiha Madara was playing house games with them. Because these 2 people have already taken off their level and entered another level. The 5 shadows were nothing but a joke in the eyes of the 2 of them, and even, if they could wipe out any one of the 5 great kingdoms with just a wave of their hands. No wonder Madara said they were prawns and crabs. It turns out they are. On the huge rocky peak, Uchiha Madara looked at Hanxing, who had underestimated his meteorite to be defeated. The corners of his mouth were raised, and his eyes were flat. Oh, tailed beast bomb? There are also attribute attacks. It seems that these 10 years, you haven't been idle all the time. Chapter 284 Previous chapter Next chapter Advertisement. It's okay. Hanxing shrugged indifferently. Lord Madara. Sasuke has awakened, Rinnegan has merged, and Obito is drawing 9 tails into Gedo statue. Behind Uchiha Madara, the mud is rippling, and Black Zetsu sticks his head out of it, hoarsely said. Oh, is it done? A smile appeared on Uchiha's unwavering face. Did Mr. Madara let me control Sasuke while Obito was delivering the 9 tails chakra and let him use the Rinne Tensai technique on you? Yes. It's good to be resurrected sooner. I can't wait to play against Senju Han's current Chiba Hanxing. Go. Madara glanced at Hanxing as soon as she finished speaking. Wait. The next moment, the whole person suddenly turned into an afterimage and disappeared in place. Is it finally going to start? Hanxing looked at Madara's leaving figure and thought to himself. Tsunade. Take the surviving ninjas out of here. In the next battle, staying here will only cost you your life in vain. Hanxing let out a faint voice, and the whole person floated down to the megalithic peak, closing his eyes and waiting. Hanxing's words made the 5 shadows extremely terrified. Listening to the meaning of these words, the battle will be more intense in the future. Let's go. Tsunade carried out Hanxing's orders without any hesitation, not to mention that they couldn't help in the next battle. Even in the current battle with Madara, they were the same. It can't help at all. Rather than staying as a burden, it is better to follow Han's words and lead the ninja coalition to leave the battlefield here. Husband. You have to be careful, Terumi Mei suddenly shouted loudly. Hanxing smiled and nodded slightly. In a dark cave, Madara and Black Zetsu appear here, and Uchiha Sasuke closes his eyes and is familiar with the Rinnegan in his heart. Suddenly, I heard footsteps at the entrance of the cave, and my closed eyes suddenly opened. Advertisement. After seeing the figure in front of him, Uchiha Sasuke looked indifferent and said coldly, Absolutely? Who is this? Did you bring him to find me? Sasuke-sama. It's the most critical moment outside. Your genin named Naruto has turned on the 9 tails mode, and we are about to lose. We need your support. Black Zetsu lied with a blushing face and a heartbeat. Huh? Is it in such a dangerous situation? It's okay. It's time for me to try the power of these new eyes. Uchiha Sasuke said aggressively. When he got up, as soon as he moved, Black Zetsu turned into a black shadow like a magnet and was attracted to Uchiha Sasuke's body, eroding Sasuke's consciousness and body. What do you want to do, Black Zetsu? Sasuke frowned and said coldly. Gia. Really a kid, of course he controls your body. Also, your vigilance is very high, but your strength is as weak as Nagato. Black Zetsu said. The body of the controller Sasuke slowly formed a mark. This mark is exactly Rinne Tensai. Rinne Tensai technique is Rinnegan's unique ninjutsu. It is a bug ninjutsu that can turn the dead into life, and the number of people is not limited. In the original work, Nagato attacked Konoha and was finally influenced by Naruto's mouth, resurrecting everyone including Kakashi. Outlaw. Rinne Tensai technique. Sasuke, who was controlled by Black Zetsu, opened his mouth hoarsely. Rinnegan's eyes flickered in Sasuke's eyes, and a ray of green light flew out of his eyes and entered Uchiha Madara's body. Not bad, years of planning, finally completed. Boom. A shadowy figure appeared on the ground. Advertisement. 10 tails is a full recovery. The cracks in his face began to disappear, and his eyes began to become hollow. After all, when he died, he gave Rinnegan to someone else, and he had no eyes. A huge roar roared out of his mouth. The other cave is not very far from here. It is made by the 2 black and white Zetsu, and it is very hidden. Boom. Go. I'm going to be 10 tails Jinchuriki and beat Senju Han fiercely, and then release infinite Tsukuyomi. Uchiha Madara sneered. Saying that, with a seal on both hands, a chain suddenly popped out of 10 tails' mouth, dragging the 9 tails on Naruto's body directly into his mouth. There was a strong beating in the heart, and the cold blood began to become hot, and a terrifying force was brewing in the body. With that said, the 2 ran towards the cave not far away. Junior, I use these eyes, which are much better than yours, Uchiha Madara said, walking up to Sasuke, reaching out and digging out Sasuke's Rinnegan and putting it into his eye socket. Humph! Madara snorted coldly and walked up to Obito. You're too slow. You. Sasuke's face was wrinkled, his hair was gray, and he said weakly. The lights flickered, and Uchiha Madara's body suddenly began to change. Oh, you actually came back to life? Sasuke should be dead? Feeling the movement behind him, Obito turned his head and saw Uchiha Madara behind him, with a hint of surprise in his eyes. In the distance, looking at the huge animal shadow that appeared out of thin air, a smile appeared on the corner of Hanxing's mouth, with a hint of fire in his eyes, and finally appeared. Hurry up and merge. I can't wait. Advertisement, Lord Madara. Are we going to be Obito next? Black Zetsu got off Sasuke and fell to the ground. At the same time, the sound waves transformed by the roar caused a crack in the sky above the cave, and it was about to collapse. The website is coming to Auntie. You know it, it's a bit late. The figure appeared outside in a flash, and then the hands quickly formed the seal, shouting, summoning technique. As expected of a collection of nine-tailed beasts, Uchiha Madara sighed, looking at the momentum around him. The powerful voice is like opening the sky and splitting the earth, and it can be heard in a radius of thousands of miles. Sasuke's death did not cause any changes to Madara and Black Zetsu. Madara felt the power of Rinnegan's pupils in a new body. Rinnegan was poached and used the forbidden technique that Rinnegan should have. Sasuke, who had few lives, died on the spot. Uchiha Madara felt the change in her body, and a smile appeared on the corner of her mouth. Obito also came out of Kamui space at this time and appeared not far from Uchiha Madara. A look of contempt emanated from his body. Senju Hanxing. We will meet again soon, and then it will be time for us to clear the ledger. At this time, Gedo statue, as Obito sent more Nine Tails chakra, the power on his body became stronger and stronger. Absorbed Nine Tails. Haha. You just found out. It's too late, Black Zetsu sneered. Roar. After Madara and Black Zetsu came over, they found that Obito was still trying to transport the chakra of Nine Tails into the Gedo statue. Chapter 285 Previous chapter Next chapter Advertisement. In the distance, following Hanxing's instructions, the five shadows led the ninja allied forces withdrew from a long distance. When they saw the sudden appearance of the behemoth, everyone was terrified at first, and then broke into a cold sweat. Then, what is that? Why'd I feel chakra from it, which is even more evil than the tailed beast? Gouda. Is this the ultimate weapon? The ninja coalition said with difficulty one by one. That chakra is so evil. Is it also a tailed beast? Oyemu frowned, and a layer of sweat appeared on his forehead unconsciously. The other three shadows looked at the behemoth in the distance with a look of horror, because that chakra was too evil. Even as a cage-level powerhouse, this chakra can affect them and make their scalp hairy. Numb. That's it. 10 tails. Tsunade looked into the distance, sounded what Hanxing said, and said solemnly. 10 tails. Hokage. What are 10 tails? Onogi asked aloud. Tsunade glanced at Onogi, then looked at the shadow of the beast in the distance, and spoke out, telling the other four shadows what Hanxing told Tsunade about 10 tails. Are you going to be 10 tails Jinchuriki? Obito appeared behind Madara, his eyes twinkling. Of course. I've been waiting for this moment for a long time. Do you have any opinion? Uchiha Madara stood on the head of 10 tails, his face was flat, and now that he has been completely resurrected, Obito's role has disappeared. He is obedient, but if he doesn't obey, just kill him. No one can stop him from doing anything except Senju Hashirama. Advertisement. No. As long as you can complete our plan, I will cooperate unconditionally. Obito shook his head. With Madara's complete resurrection, those little abacuses in his heart have been completely wiped out, and now, the only thing to do is to realize infinite Tsukuyomi, find Lin in it, and live a good life. That's good. Go and monitor Wying and the others. You're completely useless for the next thing. Uchiha took a deep look at Obito and said in a flat tone. Got it, said Obito, cast the Kamui space and get out of here. Lord Madara. Obito has his own mind in his heart. Do you want it? Black Zetsu suggested hoarsely. No need. In front of all power, all intrigues are paper tigers, Uchiha Madara said indifferently, looking up at Hanxing sitting cross-legged on a rock in the distance. He said softly, Senjuhan, soon we will have a good fight. This time, I must avenge the original revenge. However, at that time Hanxing didn't do this, instead he watched him leave calmly, without any intention of blocking. Although I don't know why you didn't stop me, but since I've come this far, this ninja world belongs to me completely. Uchiha Madara put away the smile on his face, so that we can have a fight to finish the battle that was not finished more than 10 years ago. However, there was Senju Hashirama in his era, but he was the only one in Hanxing's era. Laughing. His voice stopped abruptly, and a figure silently appeared in front of him, floating in midair just like him. Good. I thought I would easily defeat you later and implement my infinite Tsukuyomi, now. Just like the difference between ordinary genin and cage level, they are not on the same level at all. Advertisement this time, I will tell you, how strong is my real strength, instead of using that trick to sublimate to the extreme. Uchiha Madara knew very well that he had just left with Black Zetsu, and if Hanxing wanted to stop him, he would definitely be able to keep him. Not until he got Rinnegan and became 10 Tails Jinchuriki Senju Hanxing. The ninja world is handed over to you? Are you so confident? Hanxing looked at Uchiha Madara in 6 paths mode indifferently, with a hint of mockery at the corner of his mouth. The laughter is full of arrogance and indifference. Even Senju Han, who is not far away, is just an ant in front of this power. Is this the power of 6 paths? Ha ha ha, Senju Hanxing wanted an opponent, so he didn't stop him. A black truth-seeking ball rushed out from his body and appeared behind him, and at the same time, a black truth-seeking ball spear appeared in his hand. Although it is looking up, Hanxing looks at Uchiha Madara with a look of overlooking, even if Uchiha Madara turns on the 6 paths mode. Uchiha Madara held the truth-seeking ball scepter, her face was flat, and there was a hint of pride in her pupils. Uchiha Madara burst into laughter as he felt the power of uploading from his body, which was much greater than his own. Black Zetsu faced Hanxing for the first time and felt the breath of Hanxing. Standing on Madara's shoulders, Jonin couldn't help shrinking, while squinting at Uchiha Madara in front of him. Thinking of this, Uchiha Madara burst out laughing. Advertisement. But now that he has successfully opened the 6 paths mode, Senju Hanxing can no longer be regarded as an opponent by him, at most a bigger ant. I thought that after I opened 6 paths mode, everyone else was ants to him, and the entire ninja world would fall into his hands to realize infinite Tsukuyomi. The gray-white shirt with hook jade appeared quietly, and even on his neck, there was also a circle of black hook jade unknowingly. Saying that, Uchiha Madara's hands formed a seal, and Ten Tails' body instantly twisted into a ray of light, rushing towards Uchiha Madara's body, and was finally absorbed by Uchiha Madara. For such a long time, if Hanxing stopped him, he would never become 10 Tails Jinchuriki and open 6 paths mode. Uchiha Madara's black hair suddenly turned white, and the red armor fell off instantly, turning into a white hook jade 6 paths robe in the light. Hanxing quietly appeared in front of Uchiha Madara, his eyes were unwavering and indifferent, as if he did not pay attention to Uchiha Madara in front of him at all. 6 paths mode, on. Unexpectedly, Senju Han has been promoted to the 6 paths mode by himself, worthy of being an opponent he recognizes. Uchiha Madara watched the changes on Senju Han's body. Her purple pupils shrank for a while. I didn't expect. You actually reached the level of 6 paths with your own abilities. There was a hint of surprise and excitement in her voice. A piece of truth-seeking ball emerged from his body, forming a black halo, and the black truth-seeking ball scepter did not enter his hand. Have the power of Sage of 6 paths, are you so happy? However, Uchiha Madara generally knew Hanxing's plan, because he once stood at the height of Hanxing, overlooking the ninja world, the kind of arrogance and loneliness that ordinary people can't understand. Ha 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 ha. Chapter 286 Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Far away. The Ninja Alliance. The ninjas of the Hyuga clan looked at Hanxing and Uchiha Madara dressed in exactly the same way in midair, and quickly informed the nearby 5 shadows about it. Of the 5 shadows, Onogi lived the longest and knew a little more, but he had never heard of Hanxing and Uchiha Madara's level. Therefore, everyone turned their attention to Tsunade. After all, Tsunade just knew about the origin of 10 tails, so it is not surprising that he knew the pattern of the two. Being watched by everyone, Tsunade was not nervous at all, but frowned and thought, and finally said solemnly, "Do you remember what I just said about 10 tails?" Everyone nods. "Actually, there's one thing I haven't said yet, that is, Sage of 6 Paths is the first 10 tails Jinchuriki in the ninja world. If I guess correctly, Hanxing and Uchiha Madara have now reached the level of Sage of 6 Paths. Realm." "What? Hokage? You are not joking," Onogi exclaimed in disbelief. The other 3 shadows frowned and pondered, and they agreed with Tsunade's words, otherwise how could they be sure that Uchiha was playing with him just now? That is to say, now both Hanxing and Uchiha Madara have reached the level of Sage of 6 Paths, and the victory or defeat of the ninja world is also in the war between the two. Advertisement: win. Ninja world is still the same. If we lose, we will enter the infinite Tsukuyomi mode that the masked man said. Gaara calmly analyzed. That's right. Everything is waiting for the two of them to fight. Terumi Mei looked into the distance, with a hint of worry in her bright eyes. At this moment, a huge aura suddenly erupted from the two people in the distance, like 2 black and white magnetic fields, and the terrifying momentum spread frantically towards the surrounding, like a stormy wave, rolling waves. Onogi and the others were collided by these 2 auras, and their bodies sank suddenly, as if they were carrying a huge mountain. Their breathing became a little difficult, and the sweat on their foreheads again unknowingly covered. Is it so terrifying just by the collision of breaths? Onogi's face showed a hint of horror and panic. We have already left the battlefield of the Fourth World War and returned to the headquarters. How can there be such a strong pressure from such a distance? Fourth Hokage said solemnly at this time, with a hint of disbelief in his eyes. We'd better stay farther away from here, otherwise the aftermath of the battle will affect us, Tsunade said, and glanced at the ninja lying on the ground not far away. After a pause, he said, "Look at them." Everyone followed Tsunade's fingers and saw the ninjas lying on the ground, obviously being suppressed by this power. I agree with Hokage's request. The two of them have already collided so far. If we really fight, we won't be very safe here. Gaara turned around and agreed. I agree too. Terumi Mei said. Then according to Hokage's words, let's step back again, one to the place where the momentum of the two can't reach. Fourth Hokage waved his decision. Advertisement at the same time, in the dark cave, Sasuke, who was already full of white hair and was on the verge of death, at this time, his heart began to beat, and a chakra suddenly appeared in his body. Sasuke's dying body began to recover. But this recovery very slow. Not only Sasuke, but also Naruto, who had been pulled out of the 9 tails and was dying. Suddenly, a chakra wave appeared in his body. The decay of his body began to stop, and it began to slow down. Recover. After saving Naruto and Sasuke with the last force, Sage of 6 Paths gave Hanxing a deep look before disappearing. On the battlefield, Hanxing and Uchiha Madara collided imposingly, and the ground below was instantly covered with cracks and devastated. The aura of black and white, like 2 energy auras that enveloped the sky and the earth, made the entire sky begin to dim. Even at the center of the collision between the two, a series of spatial ripples quietly appeared. Oh, sure enough, he shot. Hanxing, who was competing with Madara, suddenly felt that not far away, the cave below, the magnetic field of the human body that was about to disappear, began to rotate again, and it was extremely vigorous. He was no stranger to the 2 human magnetic fields, Sasuke and Naruto. Hanxing's words made Uchiha Madara frown, and Rinnegan looked down for a moment, and at a glance, he saw the situation of Naruto and Sasuke in the cave, as well as a trace of the power of 6 paths remaining in the air. Sasuke has the power of 6 paths and he can understand, after all Sasuke has Rinnegan turned on, but Naruto has the power of 6 paths and he is a little surprised. He vaguely felt that another strange energy was surging in the two of them, but this force was not strong, but rather weak. Compared to Uchiha Madara, Hanxing could clearly feel that the consciousness of Sage of 6 Paths had fallen on the two of them. But Sasuke has already opened Rinnegan, took some power from Sage of Six Paths, and the remaining power of Sage of Six Paths can be used by Sasuke and Naruto. But if you want two people to step into the level of Six Paths, somewhat difficult. Advertisement. Turning his head, Uchiha Madara looked at Hanxing and said in a flat tone, "Did you expect that?" "No, I just wanted to see if he would shoot, but I didn't expect him to hold back and shoot." Hanxing shook his head. Uchiha Madara looked at Hanxing deeply and said, "It seems that there are still some things in the ninja world that I don't know about, but," he narrowed his eyes, and his tone was arrogant with contempt. "It doesn't matter anymore. As long as I defeat you, I will find out what happens after the ninja world." Today's Rinnegan is completely resurrected, and it is the second 10 Tails Jinchuriki in the ninja world, with the power of Sage of Six Paths. In his opinion, no matter how Hanxing obtained the truth-seeking ball and turned on the Six Paths mode, he was far from his 10 Tails Jinchuriki, the genuine Sage of Six Paths opponent. However, he will not despise Hanxing because of this. First, Hanxing is his recognized opponent. Second, Hanxing has the same Six Paths mode as him, and the two are on the same level. In the confrontation of the Six Paths level, if you are not careful, you will die. Moreover, although he is arrogant, he is not arrogant. With this thought, Uchiha waved his black scepter, and his purple pupils flickered, a pupil that was many times more powerful than Nagato, far exceeding the state of impure world reincarnation, and burst out from his eyes. This is the true power of Rinnegan. Uchiha Madara looked at Hanxing arrogantly and shouted, "The Tomb of Wheels, the border prison." In the next moment, an invisible world descended in an instant, overlapping with this world. The world that descended was a shadow world and a tomb world. Chapter 287. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. The four shadows of Uchiha Madara came out of it, and then rushed towards Hanxing in unison, attacking from different places. And Uchiha Madara's body is floating in the air, staring at Hanxing. "This is the Wheel Tomb world. Finally let me see it," Hanxing murmured. He can't see it with the naked eye, but electromagnetic induction can be felt. With his current development of electromagnetic induction, after entering the Six Paths mode, everything around him becomes black and white, which is equivalent to no color. The world, of course, is the exception to the magnetic field of the human body. If Hanxing's eyes lose light, he won't panic, because electromagnetic induction allows him to see the world clearly, even though it is black and white. In the same way, Hanxing can clearly perceive the Wheel Tomb world that is invisible to the naked eye. With a wave of the right hand, the thunder and lightning with yin and yang escapes instantly turned into four sharp swords, which instantly appeared above the four shadows, and one was cut in half. Then, it turned into a water-like liquid and merged into the world of Wheel Tombs. You can actually discover the world of the Wheel Tomb?" Uchiha Madara frowned with a hint of surprise in his voice. "I originally thought that when I stepped into the Six Paths level, I could easily crush Hanxing and even defeat him in an instant. Now it seems that he thinks too much. Senju Han can not only see his Wheel Tomb world, but also kill his four shadows in an instant. Looks, it's a tough battle again," Uchiha Madara thought to himself. At this time, he also found a problem, that is, Hanxing's lightning can kill his shadow. Although it is a shadow, the belt is also the owner of the Six Paths ability, and can only be killed. That is to say, Hanxing's thunder and lightning can have an effect on him at the Six Paths level. Advertisement. I didn't expect to see each other for more than 10 years. You can actually develop your thunderbolt to such a degree. As Uchiha Madara spoke, the black scepter knocked slightly in midair. The air suddenly rippled in circles like the sea. Four shadows appeared around him again, rushing towards Hanxing. At this moment, Rinnegan's right eye emitted a faint light. Madara's body suddenly switched places with one of the shadows, and suddenly appeared in front of Hanxing. The black scepter and the truth-seeking ball blasted towards Hanxing in an instant. Seeing the shadow is not enough, Madara began to compete with Hanxing for the power of Six Paths. They are all truth-seeking balls, and no one can take advantage of them. Naturally, whose Six Paths is stronger, whoever is more powerful. In Uchiha Madara's view, he has Rinnegan and is the second 10 Tails Jinchuriki in the ninja world. Naturally, his Six Paths are stronger, much stronger than Hanxing, a pseudo Six Paths who was promoted from nowhere. Hanxing was not in a hurry. His body was filled with gray thunder, and he instantly turned into 4 sharp swords of thunder, slashing towards the shadow around him, and then picked up the truth-seeking ball spear in his hand and the truth-seeking ball around him. Madara took it hard. Uchiha Madara's strength, plus 10 tails Jinchuriki, is only a 6th intermediate, and Hanxing has reached the peak of the power of 6 paths through his own efforts these days, which is the level of Otsutsuki Kagaya. Madara and Hanxing compete against each other for the power of 6 paths. In Hanxing's opinion, that is to find a beating. For Uchiha Madara's thoughts, Hanxing's thoughts became clear in an instant. Looking at Uchiha Madara, who swung the scepter in his hand, Hanxing had a hint of mockery in his eyes. He was really fearless. While thinking about it, the truth-seeking ball spear in Hanxing's hand swept away at Uchiha's scepter. 2 gun battles made of truth-seeking ball collided instantly, making a dull sound. Advertisement at the same time, the breath of the 2 of them at the 6 paths level rippled around, causing ripples to appear in the surrounding space. Holding the 6 paths scepter, the corners of Uchiha Madara's mouth twitched against Hanxing, who was pressing down. Obviously, he was in a good mood at this time. But in the next instant, his complexion changed suddenly, and there was an unbelievable look in his eyes. Click! A gray arc of thunder suddenly came from Hanxing's jade spear for guidance, making Uchiha Madara's truth-seeking ball scepter full of cracks in an instant. This arc of thunder bursts from Madara's truth-seeking ball scepter in an instant, towards Uchiha Madara's body. Crackle! Crackle! Uchiha Madara's body instantly turned black, and the smell of burnt smell spread, and the whole person turned into a mummified corpse that was struck to death by lightning, leaving only the intact Rinnegan. In an instant, Uchiha Madara's body was full of rich vitality, healing his dry body, and after a while, Uchiha Madara's whole body returned to its original appearance. His face was as gloomy as water, and he no longer felt the dullness just now. As expected of an opponent I recognize, even the power of the 6 paths is superior to me. Saying that, he also glanced at the truth-seeking ball scepter that was already covered with cracks. Your thunderbolt should have been developed to the level of 6 paths, otherwise it would not be so powerful. Madara said, frowning again, because he felt his 4 shadows disappeared again. The shadow disappeared as he expected, and he frowned was not this, but the truth-seeking ball in his hand, and suddenly there was a slight click. 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 Advertisement afterwards, there were only a few clicks left, like a cannonball battle. Boom. Finally unable to bear it anymore, Ban's truth-seeking ball scepter shattered instantly and fell to the ground. The ground is like paper paste, or the muddy road after the rain. The truth-seeking ball fragments that fell on the ground silently, and a few holes appear in the ground. These holes are bottomless, like ant-like abyss. Uchiha Madara took a deep look at Hanxing and held it in the palm of his hand. The fragments of the truth-seeking ball in the soil flew out instantly, and merged together like a stream of water in midair to form a new truth-seeking ball scepter, which finally fell in Madara's hands. And Hanxing is carefully looking at the wheel tomb border prison displayed by Uchiha Madara. What interests Hanxing about the tomb of the wheel prison is that this move is somewhat similar to Otsutsuki Kaguya's inflated truth-seeking ball, or a weakened inflation-seeking jade. Kagaya-ji's expansion truth-seeking ball can destroy all properties, turn the world into nothingness, and also the starting point of a new space. It is equivalent to having the ability to destroy the world and create the world. Madara's Tomb of Wheels summons the shadow world out of thin air, and can also make it disappear. The only difference is that the expansion truth-seeking ball is the world of destruction and creation, the real world, while the Tomb of the Wheel is the shadow world. The two look different, and the power is also a difference between heaven and earth. With the power of Hanxing today, it is easy to destroy the entire ninja world, but if you want to create the world, you should wash and sleep. After all, creating the world is much harder than destroying the world. Hanxing observed the Tomb of the Wheel just to understand this kind of power. If he learned it, would he be able to develop it himself? Chapter 288 Previous chapter Next chapter Advertisement. In the Wheel Tomb world, physical attacks are ineffective against shadows, but shadows can attack the real world. Strictly speaking, The wheel tomb is a kind of space ninjutsu, and the moment when Uchiha Madara can exchange positions with the shadow has already explained everything. However, the wheel tomb is a world that overlaps with the real world, and Kamui is an adjacent different space, similar to Hanxing's own space for storing things. Hanxing doesn't know whether its space barriers are hard or not. Comparing the two with Kagayaji's Heaven's Royal Palace, forget it, let's not talk about it, there is no comparison. Hanxing pondered here for so long, but Uchiha Madara had no intention of making a move. Without him, Uchiha Madara is also thinking about how to crack Hanxing's thunder. If you don't crack it, how can you beat it? As soon as he collided last time, he was blown into a mummified corpse. If he hadn't been a 10 Tails Jinchuriki, his recovery was astonishing. Even an ordinary 6 Paths character would have died long ago. After thinking for a long time, he didn't think of a way to break Hanxing thunder. What a troublesome guy. It looks like that trick is going to be used. Uchiha Madara said softly. Looking at Hanxing's eyes, a cold light flashed. His eyes widened suddenly, purple ripples swayed in circles, the huge pupil power surged instantly, the underground earth began to tremble violently, and cracks appeared quietly, like an earth dragon turning over, as if the entire ninja world began to turmoil. No, it should be that the entire Wheel Tomb world began to shake violently. Hanxing looked at the Wheel Tomb world not far away in surprise, and found that the entire Wheel Tomb world began to compress, and at the same time a devastating force was brewing inside. It all seems complicated, but it's only done in an instant. Advertisement. Uchiha Madara's pupil power exploded frantically, and a low shout followed. Wheel Tomb. Heavenly hell. In the next instant, the compressed Wheel Tomb world seemed to travel through space and suddenly appeared in front of Hanxing. It turned into a black hole, and the black shadow thorns turned into giant hands to entangle Hanxing and swallow it. At the same time, Uchiha Madara waved the black truth-seeking ball scepter, and a space vortex appeared in front of him. Without any hesitation, put the black hole turned into the Wheel Tomb world in front of you. The Wheel Tomb heavenly prison compresses the entire Wheel Tomb world, making the space barrier of its shadow world unbreakable, and then swallows the enemy into it. The people inside have to fight with the shadow in the Wheel Tomb all the time, that is, his shadow. It is equivalent to a sealing technique. The only downside is that after Uchiha Madara uses this skill, any of Rinnegan's skills on the Wheel Tomb cannot be used in the future. As for the purpose of putting it into the space to prevent Hanxing from breaking through the world of the Tomb of the Wheel, even if he gets rid of it in the future, the ninja world has already passed for many years. Infinite Tsukuyomi has also been implemented. Gaara's words brought people back to their senses. Yeah, it's too far. Tsunade knows this, so do the other 4 shadows. Whether it's a seal or something, Hanxing has failed anyway. The ninja world is over. With Hanxing being exiled into space by Uchiha Madara, the entire ninja world became silent and depressed. At the same time, a faint voice spread throughout the entire ninja world, using the entire world of the Tomb of the Wheel as an attack method. Yes. If I hadn't used some means, I really couldn't pierce your world of the Tomb of the Wheel. It is indeed Rinnegan's ultimate pupil technique. For them, Hanxing is not only the god of the ninja world, but also the man they will be with for a lifetime. Advertisement separates some shadow clones to block the shadow army ahead, and the main body is looking at the world of Wheel Tombs above. At this time, Terumi Mei's eyes were wet with tears, and she couldn't cry. In order to prevent the aftermath of the battle between the two from being affected, they have been too far away from the battlefield of the two. Then floated towards a high ground in the distance. It's time to cast Infinite Tsukuyomi. Below. Besides. What if they get there? What can it be? Not a lamb delivered to the door, to be slaughtered by Uchiha Madara. Hanxing's spear collided with the space of the Wheel Tomb above, making a rippling sound. No. It should have been sealed. Tsunade shook his head, his bright eyes filled with undisguised loss. Hanxing was defeated. Murmured. It's too late, we're too far from here. Gaara shook her head, her voice as calm as ever. He holds the truth-seeking ball spear in his right hand, and the dark gray arc of lightning is on and off. In the blink of an eye, the lightning on the truth-seeking ball spear is dazzling, like a flickering god-killing spear. At the same time, it spins rapidly like a top. Damn it. Are we just watching him silently, casting infinite Tsukuyomi? Fourth Raikage slammed the ground with a reluctant punch. The allied ninja army headed by Tsunade looked at what was happening in the sky in the distance, and some did not believe it. One after another, the turbulent spatial turbulence flowed into the space pierced by Hanxing. Advertisement in the next instant, as the spatial turbulence poured into the wheel tomb space like a tide, the entire wheel tomb space was instantly covered with cracks, and finally exploded, turned into fragments, and disappeared. Hanxing held a long spear, and the whole was like a world-destroying storm with thunder. The power of the 6 paths of destruction radiated from the surrounding of the whirlwind like water waves. Even the entire shadow space compressed by Madara began to shake violently. After taking a look, Hanxing didn't hesitate at all. His whole body was covered with gray thunder and lightning, and the whole figure was like a thunder god descending. Backquote. The black and white three-dimensional world is desolate, lonely and lifeless, like a dead planet. It's over, Madara sneered, looking at the space that had returned to its original state, and murmured softly. Despair, helplessness, fear and other negative emotions filled the face of the ninja coalition. Not only Terumi Mei, but also Ino and Hinata. Speaking of which, Hanxing was considered to have escaped death. The moment he was swallowed by the Tomb of the Wheel, he saw the boundless shadow of the world of the Tomb of the Wheel rushing towards him. She knows that if such a battle is sealed or defeated, the ninja world has been completely occupied by Uchiha Madara, and infinite Tsukuyomi may be implemented by Madara. The entire space of the Tomb of the Wheel was instantly blasted by Hanxing's world-destroying gun to a huge hole. Boom. Crack. Just as everyone looked desperate, when Uchiha Madara was about to cast infinite Tsukuyomi, a ripple appeared in the space behind Uchiha Madara, and Hanxing stepped out of it calmly. Hanxing's eyes flickered, and at the moment when the space turbulent flow approached, his figure flashed and disappeared in the space of the wheel tomb. For these, Hanxing is naturally not interested. The strength is not as good as Uchiha Madara, at most it is cage level, but it can't stand the crowd. At a glance, it looks like a black tide. Chapter 289 Previous chapter Next chapter Advertisement. The moment Hanxing disappeared, he returned to his alternate dimension. Although his alternate dimension was a little unstable with the appearance of spatial turbulence, he still managed to get in with the power of 6 paths. In a lonely three-dimensional space, Kushina stayed there a little bored. Seeing Hanxing rushing in with an embarrassed expression, Kushina said anxiously. Hanxing, how are you? Did something happen? It's okay. It was almost washed away by the turbulent flow of space. Hanxing waved his hand, shook his head and smiled. Space turbulence? What's the situation? Aren't you fighting Madara? Kushina asked with some doubts. Hanxing quickly told Kushina about the scene of his fight with Madara, and then, he found the coordinates of the ninja world, thinking about the rapid surging there. From being wrapped by Madara's wheel tomb, to Hanxing's piercing the wheel tomb, and returning to his own space, all these were completed in an instant. Therefore, Hanxing did not take long to come to the outside of the ninja world's space barrier, and then entered it. This is what just happened. When Uchiha Madara heard Hanxing's voice, she turned around and the muscles on her face contracted. How is that possible? You can escape from the wheel tomb space. There was an unbelievable look in his eyes. The ultimate pupil technique that he used with all his strength did not cause Senju Hanxing to suffer any damage, and there was a trace of embarrassment on his body. That's right, it's really ironic to be a little embarrassed. His ultimate pupil technique made people even more embarrassed. From this, he can guess that there is an indelible gap between himself and Hanxing, just like the gap between Wying and him. He couldn't understand why he had become the 6 Paths Sage Mode and 10 Tails Jinchuriki, why the gap with Hanxing was so big. Ha ha ha. Good. Good. As expected of Senju Hanxing, as expected of an opponent I recognize. Uchiha Madara was shocked at first, then laughed wildly. Advertisement, but, you are already late. Really? Hanxing shook his head slightly indifferently. Lightning flashed on his body, and his right hand clenched his fist and waved suddenly. The gray-black thunder turned into a huge thunderfist and blasted towards Uchiha Madara. This thunder is formed by Hanxing's own bloodline as the main yin and yang, and the other 4 elements of the 5 elements. Its power is several times greater than that of the truth-seeking ball scepter. It's his strongest bloodline. In order to fuse this kind of thunder and lightning, Hanxing has been trying since he completed the production of truth-seeking ball, and finally he was successfully fused by him not long ago. If it is said that the jade for guidance is secret but not obvious, and the attack is restrained, Hanxing's thunder has only 2 words, violent. By attacking and killing, the violent thunder is overflowing, and it is extremely publicized, which makes people feel terrified at first sight. Boom! Thunder fists rushed towards Uchiha Madara. Uchiha Madara's wheel tomb was destroyed by him, and now he can't use the wheel tomb skills. He can only fuse his own truth-seeking ball and truth-seeking ball scepters together to form a black barrier in an attempt to stop Hanxing's thunder fist. But the power of Hanxing and Uchiha Madara's 6 paths are not at the same level, plus Thunder's exclusive attacks and kills. The moment the thunder fist slammed into the black barrier formed by the truth-seeking ball instantly appeared a little crack. Boom! Afterwards, it exploded and turned into black stars that fell to the ground, and small bottomless holes suddenly appeared on the ground. Advertisement immediately afterwards, Hanxing's huge punch went straight through Uchiha Madara's body. Most of Uchiha Madara's body was taken away by the fist and disappeared. After being swallowed by Hanxing's thunder, his whole body turned into a dry corpse again. The gray thunder was like a bone-eroding lion majesty, devouring Madara's vitality frantically. This was Hanxing's attempt to prevent Madara from recovering so quickly last time. With Hanxing's thunder, Madara couldn't recover this time. Half of her body was blown away, and she still had the power of 6 paths. It was difficult to recover. If it weren't for the 10 tails in his body, his life would not be so hard. He would have been swallowed into ashes by the gray thunder on Hanxing's body. Looking at Uchiha Madara with only half of his body left, there was disbelief in his eyes, and he felt the gray arc of his life back and forth in his body. Uchiha Madara could feel that even if he was 10 tails Jinchuriki, his half-body couldn't bear the thunder for long. He felt like he was dreaming, resurrecting from him, getting Rinnegan to become 10 tails Jinchuriki, many times stronger than he was at his peak. But it is still not Hanxing's opponent. When he died, what happened to Hanxing? How did Hanxing reach this point? But all this is not important. He can feel his vitality gradually fading. That's it. Before I die, I'll leave something for you, right? Madara grinned at Hanxing in thought. The other hand in the body slowly pulled out the forehead protector on the forehead. A huge eyeball was revealed, with 3 Rinnegan ripples in the pupil, and black hooks. This is the Rinnegan, also known as the Moon's Eye, which is the exclusive eye that activates Infinite Tsukuyomi. Infinite Tsukuyomi. Madara snarled in a hoarse voice, marking the other hand slowly. Advertisement hum. As soon as Madara's voice fell, the reincarnation Sharingan above Madara's head burst into a dazzling light. Like a laser, it rushed straight into the sky, towards the full moon above. Hum. A shocking scene appeared. At the moment when the full moon above the head came into contact with the beam of light emitted by Madara, a burst of dazzling radiance occurred, which was comparable to the dazzling light of the big sun. The dazzling light made one could not bear to look directly, but Hanxing could see it clearly. On the bright full moon, it began to change with the appearance of the beam of light. The bright and full moon began to turn scarlet, and circles of ripples appeared, followed by a trail of black jade, which was similar to the shape of the reincarnation Sharingan on Uchiha Madara's forehead. Like an eye magnified countless times, suspended in the sky. Hum. In the next moment, the reincarnation Sharingan in the sky began to vibrate, sending out huge ripples in circles, and at the same time, the entire eye emitted a dazzling light, shrouding the entire ninja world. Light ignores space, ignores distance, ignores everything that penetrates people's bodies. At this moment, Rinnegan's ripples appeared in the pupils of everyone in the ninja world, and everyone was silently there like a statue, entering their own dreamland. This is it. Infinite Tsukuyomi. But Hanxing floated there in midair, his face didn't waver at all, and even Infinite Tsukuyomi didn't work for him at all. Chapter 290 Previous chapter Next chapter Advertisement. Although it is useless to you, My dream has come true, making the entire ninja world fall into sleep and achieve peace in the ninja world. Uchiha Madara grinned grimly, and cobweb-like cracks appeared all over his body. This is the power of the chakra ancestor? Hanxing muttered to himself, feeling the chakra fluctuations around him. At the same time, Black Zetsu turned into a goo and attached himself to Uchiha Madara. Jia. Madara, now that you're dying, help me with one last thing. Black Zetsu's hoarse voice began ominously. What? Black Zetsu, what do you want? Uchiha Madara exclaimed in surprise. Jia. Black Zetsu sneered and didn't answer. Instead, the manipulator Madara's body, slowly forming the seal, was delaying for some time, and it was about to die completely. God! The tree world is coming, Sen Leng's voice began to say from Black Zetsu. At the same time, the reincarnation Sharingan on Madara's forehead once again turned into a beam of light to transmit the moon in the sky, or the reincarnation Sharingan that is now magnified many times. The reincarnation Sharingan in the sky once again sent out a circle of ripples, radiating the entire ninja world. Boom! Boom! The earth was roaring and turbulent, and this time, the entire ninja world, all the roots were like vines, and the roots were extremely hard and sturdy. Advertisement: a strong ribbon spreads out from the roots of the tree, involving everyone in it and connecting with the divine tree. Buzz! 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 At the same time, Madara did not disappear after being controlled by Black Zetsu and formed a mark, but instead, like a magnet, she was inexplicably pulled and began to surge into his body frantically. Uchiha Madara looked stunned and said in a difficult tone, Black Zetsu, you bastard, what the hell did you do? Jia. At this time, it's nothing to tell you. The so-called infinite Tsukuyomi is not a ninjutsu to bring peace to the ninja world at all, but a jutsu that brings together everyone's chakra and resurrects my mother. No. Possibly. This is. I saw it on the Uchiha clan stone. Steel. I got it, there can be no mistake. Jia. I've lived for too long, naturally I know everything, and I can revise everything. What you see is just what I've revised. Uchiha Madara was speechless at this time, because the endless chakra was drawn out from the ribbon that descended from the god tree realm, and madly merged into half of Uchiha Madara's body. At the same time, the entire ninja world rose up into the sky, turning into real chakra rivers, and gathered towards Uchiha Madara crazily. These rushing rivers are not only the chakra on the ninja, but also the earth, mountains, dragon veins and other places. Only the places containing chakra can't escape. Hanxing looked at the shocking scene not far away, and murmured, Is it started? Otsutsuki Kagaya Heim, it's finally coming? Not far away, Black Zetsu, possessing Uchiha Madara, looked at Hanxing with no change in his eyes, and when his lips moved slightly, he finally realized that Senju Hanxing was not affected in any way. His face darkened, and he thought to himself. This guy's Senju Hanxing, he doesn't have Rinnegan, why isn't he influenced by infinite Tsukuyomi? But, it doesn't matter. Mother will be resurrected soon. Then the world will be reopened by Mother. At this time, the consciousness of Uchiha Madara began to dissipate, and a Rinnegan in his eyes began to close. Advertisement: feeling Madara's change, Hanxing frowned, Are you dead? That's fine. Jia. It's really useless, in the end it still didn't hold up. Sen Leng's voice echoed around. In the endless white world, Uchiha Madara appeared here, looked at his body, and there was a complex color in his pupils. You're finally here, Madara. A voice called from behind Uchiha Madara. Uchiha Madara turned around and several figures appeared in his sight, Senju Hashirama, Senju Tobarama, Vortex Mito and Sage of Six Paths Otsutsuki Hagoromo. Hashirama. I didn't expect to meet you again here. Uchiha Madara said this sentence, his eyes were full of loneliness. Senju Hashirama shook his head and smiled, We didn't belong to that world a long time ago, didn't we? Why are you still forced to stay there? Besides. Senju Hashirama's expression suddenly condensed, You have released a big trouble. If the junior of my family can't handle it, then the entire ninja world may be destroyed by it. Really? Uchiha Madara frowned and walked towards Senju Hashirama and the others. Then he saw Sage of Six Paths at the front. Although he had never seen Sage of Six Paths, he recognized it at a glance. Sage of Six Paths glanced at Hashirama and Madara, and sighed. The Six Paths scepter was slightly in this white world. Like a mirror, the entire ninja world appeared in front of them. Looking at what happened in the ninja world, Uchiha Madara's eyes were very calm, but there was a bitter smile on the corner of his mouth. After all, Black Zetsu had already told him everything before he died. Advertisement. You think you're in control of everything, but in the end you're still being used by others. I know, Black Zetsu told me when I was dying. Uchiha Madara shook his head. Forget it. We are already dead, and the next thing can only be left to the junior of my clan. Senju Hashirama shook his head and sighed. Ninja world. Countless galloping rivers converged into Uchiha Madara's body, and his whole figure was like an inflated balloon, which began to grow bigger and rounder by the surrounding chakra. Finally, a dazzling wagwang burst out from Madara's body. The dazzling light is like a big sun, shining for eternity. After a while, the brilliance disappeared, the inflated balloon began to dissipate, and a phantom gradually appeared in Hanxing's sight. That is a woman. 3,000 silver white hair swayed in the wind like a waterfall in midair. The skin is smoother than snow, as if it does not belong to the ninja world, but an envoy from the gods. The face is beautiful and delicate, as if God specially crafted it, but on this face it reveals a coldness to the bone, and a pair of white eyes are full of majesty and indifference, as if they are above everything. There is a small red mark on the forehead above the two eyes, and between the eyebrows, a reincarnation 9-go jade Sharingan emerges out of thin air. There are a pair of pointed horns on both sides of her forehead, showing her alternative identity. She is wearing a white robe, and her body is embroidered with exquisite hook jade patterns. This is the ancestor of the ninja world, Otsutsuki Kagaya Haim, a pitiful and lonely figure. Chapter 291 Previous chapter Next chapter Advertisement. This phantom, as chakra converged towards the inside, the phantom gradually became solid. Senju Hanxing. Your strength is very strong, you can't even match Uchiha Madara who got Rinnegan in Six Paths mode, but, it's all over today. Black Zetsu stood on the shoulders of the phantom, his tone was cold, opening. Yeah, it's over. I've been waiting for this day for a long time. Hanxing looked at Otsutsuki Kagaya who gradually condensed into a solid body, felt the energy coming from Otsutsuki Kagaya, and looked at Black Zetsu in a flat tone. This look made Black Zetsu's heart tremble, because he didn't see shock, panic and other expressions of shock in his heart, but his face was flat, as if everything was expected. Impossible. Impossible. Black Zetsu took a deep breath and shook his head secretly. He gritted his teeth and said in a deep voice, no matter what you do, it's useless. Your mother will be resurrected soon. You are just a clown jumping beams in front of your mother. She is the pioneer of the ninja world, the ancestor of chakra. Otsutsuki Kagaya Haim. Right? In the last sentence, Hanxing interrupted Black Zetsu's words directly, and looked at Black Zetsu with a flat gaze, not that contempt for the world, or disdain, arrogance. Some only have endless plainness. But, it was this dullness that made Black Zetsu tremble with fear, his scalp tingling, and even he himself didn't know why. In order to save your mother, you really tried your best to provoke the discord between Indra and Ashura, and then provoked the war between Uchiha and Senju Hashirama, and even the entire history of the ninja world was written because of you. Should I call you Black Zetsu? Or should I call you Otsutsuki Hagoromo and Himura's younger brother, Kagaya Haim's third son? Advertisement boom. Boom. Hanxing's plain words directly caused Black Zetsu, who was not far away, to instantly arouse huge waves on the calm lake, and there seemed to be a thunderous roar in his ears. If he had a body, his whole body would be covered in cold sweat. He looked at Hanxing in horror, with an unbelievable expression on his face, and said tremblingly. This? How did you know this? Could it be Yui? No. Even Yui doesn't know my existence. Who are you? In a panic, he looked at Otsutsuki Kagaya who was about to condense into a solid body, and gritted his teeth. What if you knew? Mother has been resurrected, you can't stop it. Hee. Hanxing shook his head and smiled. You really think you don't have my acquiescence? You can summon Kagaya-ji completely. You think you don't have my acquiescence? Can you still live to this day? My strength has already reached the level of 6 paths, and I know everything. Why do you think I didn't shoot you? Boom. As soon as Hanxing's words fell, Black Zetsu felt that thousands of thunderbolts rumbled down in his mind, his tinnitus trembled, and his scalp was terrified. There's always been something wrong with Black Zetsu, Naruto and Sasuke, Madara's Rinnegan, etc. It's really going so well. Hanxing knows the truth of everything, and he doesn't stop it. Once he stops any of them, or kills Madara in impure world reincarnation, etc. As long as one of them is destroyed, his plan will not succeed and his mother will not be resurrected. Thinking of this, Black Zetsu suddenly thought of something, with a look of extreme horror on his face. Difficult. Could it be? You are. Seeing Black Zetsu's expression, Hanxing is very useful. He knows what Black Zetsu thinks, nothing more than Kaguya's hometown. Kaguya's feared enemy. Otsutsuki Gold and Otsutsuki Peach. After all, Black Zetsu is Otsutsuki Kagaya. It is not surprising to know this. Advertisement. The horrified Black Zetsu was too frightened to say anything, and could only lean towards Kaguya's hair on Kaguya's shoulders, seeking a little comfort. Of course, he just moved. Suddenly, Hanxing moved. Hanxing, who was originally opposite Black Zetsu, appeared in front of Black Zetsu in an instant, and with a flick of his hand, the dark gray lightning turned into 2 sharp arrows and shot straight at Black Zetsu. A faint voice sounded, "She has been resurrected, so you no longer need to exist." Boom. After all, Black Zetsu is only Kaguya's consciousness. It can't resist Hanxing's thunder arrows, and the moment it is destroyed by thunder arrows. An indifferent, high cold shout appeared in the ears of Hanxing and Black Zetsu. Stop, too bad it's too late. Click, click. Hanxing's thunder arrows successfully attacked Black Zetsu's body, and cracks appeared on his body in an instant, spreading all over his body in the blink of an eye. Black Zetsu's horrified expression also solidified, like petrification. Boom. In the end, it turned into a glass explosion, and the whole Black Zetsu exploded. Advertisement. So far, the old Yinbi, Otsutsuki Black Zetsu, who ran through the entire ninja world, was successfully killed by Hanxing. Although he successfully resurrected his mother, unfortunately, he still failed to meet his mother in the end. Don't worry. Black Zetsu, save your mother. When I defeat your mother, I will personally write a script and spread it throughout the ninja world. Hanxing Nuoyu chuckled. Damn you. This voice is none other than Otsutsuki Kagaya, who is almost fully formed. After Black Zetsu died, he turned into a black stream and flowed into Kagaya's phantom. At the same time, the speed of the surrounding chakra river suddenly accelerated several times. Jade feet, legs, clothes, arms, until the last 3,000 silver threads that are longer than the whole body. At this point, Otsutsuki Kagaya, the ancestor of the ninja world, has finally been resurrected. You bastard. There was a hint of indifference in the cold voice, not angry because of Black Zetsu's death, nor did he take action directly, just a pair of white pupils stared at Hanxing. Thank you for the compliment. Lord Goddess of Mao. Hanxing smiled indifferently, without taking Kagaya-ji's words into his eyes. You were the first person who dared to kill my son in front of me, and the first person who dared to talk to me like that. Kagaya-ji rolled her eyes indifferently, and even her tone was full of arrogance, making people not dare blasphemy. Really? That's really my honor, Hanxing calmly, after a pause, said casually. Then, dear Lord Kagaya-ji, what do you think should be done with me? Kagaya-ji did not speak, but suddenly, a murderous intent filled her body. With the appearance of this murderous intention, the entire ninja world seemed to be calling for her will, and white snow began to float in the sky. Chapter 292. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. You know, it's only summer now, autumn has just come, and now it's snowing. This snow was not just under the battlefield where Hanxing and Kagaya-ji were alone, but all the ninja world began to fall from the sky. Hum. Hum. The powerful hurricane, icy and biting, around Hanxing seems to have come to Senluo Hell. This is the terrifying face of Otsutsuki Kagaya, the ancestor of chakra. Just murderousness can make the whole world of ninjas change color and climate change. In the next moment, this icy, freezing hell instantly turned into a sea of flames, and the scorching yellow came to the nostrils. The world where Hanxing was in instantly turned into a lava world, with red lava underneath and hot bubbles blowing. Needless to say, Hanxing also knows that this is Kagayaji's pupil technique, the Royal Palace of Heaven. The Royal Palace of Heaven is divided into 5 spaces, namely, ice, lava, supergravity, sand, acid and other 5 spaces. These 5 spaces are not imaginary worlds, but real spaces created by Chiba Hanxing. This is the ultimate pupil technique of the Samsara Sharingan, the power of the blood snares. Change the world in a single thought. This is no longer a human ability. Even Uchiha Madara can't achieve it. He is worthy of being called a god by people thousands of years ago. Advertisement, however. Hanxing knows that the consumption of this move is not ordinary horror. It is Otsutsuki Kaguya's unique pupil technique. As expected of the goddess of Mao, the sky and the earth change color in a single thought, and the space is replaced. I am truly amazed. Hanxing was suspended in midair, and he could clearly feel the scorching temperature around him, but the magma couldn't do him any harm. The moment it fell on Hanxing's body, the surrounding truth-seeking ball had stopped him. I have to say, Kaguya's strength is not ordinary, but her strength is basically in the space. If it is a fight, Hanxing doesn't think that his bloodline, which combines the 7 attributes, will be weaker than her. Moreover, Chiba Hanxing has already come up with the means, and she will not be the dying Uchiha Madara to let her do whatever she wants. Chiba Hanxing, now that you've come up with the means, it's up to me. It's been a long time since I reached the pinnacle of 6 paths, even Uchiha Madara just now. Hope, you can let me do my best. As soon as the dull voice fell, a dazzling thunder burst out from Hanxing's body. The real chakra spewed out, and a dark gray thunder dragon suddenly emerged from Hanxing's body, winding around Hanxing's body, winding and twisting. Hanxing clenched his fist and waved forward. The dark gray thunder dragon suddenly flew out from Hanxing's side, with the might of destroying the world, and flew towards Otsutsuki Kagayaji not far away. Wherever he passed, the space was slightly distorted, and on some of the magma sputtering paths below, the ice met fire in an instant, began to melt, and disappeared without a sound. What is Hanxing thinking? Kagayaji doesn't know. As the ancestor of chakra, after coming out, you can feel that Hanxing's strength is on the same level as her. Hanxing didn't expect that Kagayaji's shot would be a lure. In the plain eyes of Hanxing and Kagayaji, 10 gray-black thunder dragons instantly bombarded with the destructive fist sea. The mighty Zhongchen ocean waves towards the sky are wrapped and swallowed away. But that's all. What's the use of chakra? Those weak points above can't be made up by a lot of chakra. Therefore, she is ruthless when she shoots. Advertisement. The aftermath of the collision between the two directly caused a terrifying abyss to explode in the magma sea below, and the endless magma turned into rolling waves, as if swept away. Hanxing and Kagayaji directly ignored the surrounding magma, and at their level, natural attributes have no effect on them. This is the performance of training chakra to the ultimate, far from being comparable to the empty palms of the Hyuga family. The sky above the two is extremely quiet, but it is not so peaceful below. It can be said that it is no exaggeration. One after another boxing that can destroy the world, but not even a single scar is left on Hanxing's thunder picture. However, just in case, Hanxing was still covered with lightning, forming a lightning armor, wrapping his entire body inside. Shaking the sky with the power of immortality, attacking and defending as one, merciless, every punch is a sure-fire blow. Even a mouse can't escape. This is the description of the 80 gods' airstrike. By eating the fruit of chakra, she has reached the sky in one step. Compared with Hanxing, she has neither actual combat, consciousness nor experience. What she has is just more chakra than Hanxing. Hanxing's thunder picture scroll is like a map of mountains and rivers borrowed from ancient prehistoric times. It not only attacks and defends together, but also the gray electric snake attack from it is extremely powerful. Boom. 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 One after another. Sounds like thunder rang in the ears of the two of them. Boom. It's a kind of insidious feeling. Advertisement. 80 Gods Airstrike. The Thunder Dragon roared, as if the ancient Thunder Dragon was revived, crushing it away with its mighty coercion. At the moment when Kagaya-ji broke out and fluctuated, the entire lava space was extremely turbulent. Endless magma roared out from the ground, turned into a huge wave of magma and slaughtered towards Hanxing and the two. Feeling the destructive energy from Thunder Dragon, Kagaya-ji narrowed her eyes and her voice was indifferent and cold. It would be better if she was stronger than Hanxing. Now that she is at the same level, she has no certainty of winning against Hanxing. She is not Hanxing, she has come step by step and has worked hard to climb to the top. Boom! Boom! The thunder armor on the body erupted with dazzling thunder again, and the gray-black thunder dragons were instantly gathered by Hanxing, rushing towards the dense waves of fists. In this way, Hanxing's thunder picture scroll is like a foolish old man moving a mountain, unswervingly pushing towards Kagaya-ji. The sound like the sky and the earth rang in the ears of the two. It can easily smash Sasuke's Susanoo complete body in the original book, killing multiple Naruto 6 Paths clones. A violent chakra surged from Kagaya-ji's body, and it was like a turbulent sea in an instant. Countless fists with extremely terrifying momentum, densely slammed into the Thunder Dragon not far away, like giant fists and waves. At the moment when the two collided, 10 dark black Thunder Dragons were linked together at the end, instantly turning into a picture of thunder that covered the sky and the sun. Facing the huge sea of fists, he did not panic at all. Kagaya-ji's 80 God airstrike that pushed the ultimate, with the unswerving push of Hanxing's Thunder Picture Scroll, the range that can be used is getting smaller and smaller. Immediately, the Thunder Picture Scroll full of destructive power will arrive in front of Kagaya-ji. Chapter 293 Previous chapter Next chapter Advertisement. Not good. Kagaya-ji looked at the Thunder Picture Scroll full of destructive energy, her brows furrowed. She didn't expect that the 80 Gods airstrikes she used with all her strength would not be Senju Hanxing's opponent. The reincarnation Sharingan in the center of the forehead, the brilliance flickered, and the ripples erupted from it. The space where Hanxing and Otsutsuki Kagaya were enchanged again, and suddenly appeared in a sea of acid. And Hanxing's thunder picture has disappeared, as if left in the lava space. There is almost no air in this world, and the whole world is made of acid. This is the second space in the heavens royal, acid space. Hanxing and Kagaya fell straight into the acid ocean. Zizi. Zizi. In an instant, Hanxing's 6 Paths robe composed of the power of 6 Paths showed signs of corrosion. The original ordinary acid is impossible to cause damage by Hanxing, even if it is 10 times stronger. However, this is the space controlled by Kagaya. These acids are also the power controlled by Kagaya-ji, which is mixed with a lot of 6 Paths. Force. Acid. Hanxing murmured. His eyes flickered. His face did not have a trace of horror, and the lightning flashes on his body turned into a thunder armor to resist the erosion of acid. With the thunder armor, the surrounding acid can no longer do any damage to him. Advertisement. As for the consumption, it is negligible, and it is not as fast as his recovery. In other words, with the thunder armor, he can stay here as long as he wants. This guy is really tough. Kagaya, who was integrated into the surrounding space, saw Hanxing's performance. Her white forehead and eyes were wrinkled. She could feel that Hanxing's thunder armor hardly consumed his chakra. In other words, if you fight for consumption, this trick will not work. And the air attack of the 80 gods just now was defeated by Hanxing, and the frontal attack is not enough. Looks like that's the only way to go. Kagaya-ji murmured secretly. My heart is so cold. Hum. The space behind Hanxing was rippling, and a space portal quietly appeared. Kagaya-ji hid deep in the space, raised her fair jade arm and waved at Hanxing's back. A spooky gray bone spur rushed towards Hanxing. Kill the ashes. This is Otsutsuki Kaguya's unique move. It is her sure kill technique. The person who is stabbed will surely be annihilated together with the bones. The body begins to collapse from the sky and gradually spreads throughout the body. It is similar to Dead Bone Pulse of the Teru Yoruichi clan, but far surpasses Dead Bone Pulse in every aspect. The powerful decaying power on it can kill even the body of 6 Paths. In the original book, Otsutsuki Kagaya used this move to kill countless six-pads clones of Naruto, wiped out Sasuke's full-body Susanoo with one blow, and even killed six-pads Obito with one move. This shows the horror of this technique. It is not an exaggeration to call it the first killing technique in the ninja world. Advertisement Hanxing's electromagnetic induction has long sensed everything around him, and he sensed it the moment the space portal opened behind him. With a thought, Hanxing didn't have any intention of avoiding, and rushed towards Otsutsuki behind him. Whoosh! The ashes of the co-killer passed through Hanxing's body, but did not leave any traces on him, as if it didn't work at all. In the next instant, Hanxing's figure suddenly disappeared, and the two hands with lightning flashes directly confronted the unclosed grab the space portal. Then, rip it hard. Click. Click. As if the sound of glass breaking, the entire space trembled fiercely, and then exploded directly. After all, this is just a small world created by Kagaya, and the space barrier is not as strong as the ninja world. How is this possible? Hidden in the crack of space, Kagaya watched everything that happened in front of her eyes with disbelief in her big eyes. Even if his co-killing ashes were ineffective, Hanxing was able to tear out a big hole in his own space. This simply made him unbelievable. When Hanxing was shocked by Kagaya-ji, he would not miss this good opportunity. His figure flashed and stepped into the crack of space. The hands of the lightning flashes grabbed Kagaya-ji's hands fiercely, and at the same time, the lightning flashed on his body. A gray thunder the dragon suddenly emerged from Hanxing. Kagaya-ji was entangled like a rope. Afterwards, he let go of Kagaya-ji's hands and said with a smile, "Don't you think it's incredible? It's actually very simple. I have the ability to transform into a thunderbolt, that is, elementalization. No matter how powerful your solid attack is, it has no effect on me and Ben. Of course, this elementalization wouldn't work if I hadn't moved up to the six pads level, or if the two of us weren't on the same level, but now we're both on the same level. This elementalization is a big killer." Advertisement. A powerful weapon designed to kill your ashes. It might work wonders for ordinary six pads, but for me, useless. As for how to tear apart the space, why is it so simple? You need to know. You are not the only one with the master space attribute. Although this is a unique space, it is still possible to tear a space crack. Hanxing answered Otsutsuki Kaguya's doubts unhurriedly. In the dark world or space crack, Hanxing and Kagaya-ji, who was bound by the thunder, stood opposite each other. Around, you can vaguely see the space of countless crystal walls Madara, and you can also see the space like a diaphragm, and even some bubble space. The diaphragm space is the closest, the crystal wall space is next, and the bubble space is the farthest. There are a total of 6 diaphragms around, which are the 6 spaces where Kagaya-ji is located. These spaces seem to be close and narrow. But in fact, the distance could not be measured with the naked eye at all, and Hanxing could still see a series of dense space nodes. If ordinary people came here, they would not be able to finish their journey in a lifetime. As for the crystal wall space, it is no longer a space that Kagaya-ji can control, but a world that is farther away. Either establish a super long-distance space channel, or go out through the space crack and pass through the endless space turbulence, perhaps can reach. The bubble space is like endless stars, the distance. Forget it. These are far from what he should worry about now. The real thing to worry about is the goddess of you, Otsutsuki Kagaya. Okay. The gossip is over, dear Ms. Kagaya, it's time for you to hit the road. Hanxing said. His right hand was empty, and a gray spear appeared in Hanxing's hand, and the lightning arc swam back and forth. At the moment of its appearance, a layer of black material appeared on Hanxing's gray spear with the naked eye. That is Hanxing's performance of applying Thunder Bloodline with Yin and Yang, the 5 elements and 4 attributes to Ultimate. Chapter 294 Previous chapter Next chapter Advertisement. Kagaya-ji felt your thunder spear full of destructive power in Hanxing's hand, and her face suddenly sank. Chakra filled the whole body, and regardless of the erosion of the Thunder Dragon, the 80 Gods Air Strike instantly launched the Thunder Dragon next to him. The sea of fists filled the sky, with the energy to shake the world, instantly blasted the gray-black Thunder Dragon in front of him, and Kagaya-ji moved in one direction and fled in one direction. There was a sneer on Hanxing's face. His Thunder Dragon was just an ordinary Thunder Dragon mixed with Yin-Yang escape technique, and he expected Kagaya-ji to break free. What he wanted was this time difference. At the moment when Kagaya-ji broke away, Hanxing's world-destroying Thunder Gun shot directly at Kagaya-ji. Whoosh! The black Thunder Spear instantly turned into a black streamer and shot directly at Kagaya. Just as Kagaya-ji approached a space passage, Hanxing's spear directly stabbed Kagaya-ji's body. A muffled sound came out, and Kagaya-ji also successfully reached the space. Hanxing frowned, and his figure flashed towards the space. At this time, Kagaya-ji must not be allowed to run away. Just after coming out of the space, a force of gravity containing the ultimate terrifying way directly pulled him from midair to the ground. Hanxing looked up at everything in the space, and the surrounding earth was a green crystal. This should be Kagaya-ji, the super-gravity space among the 5 major spaces in the Imperial Palace, Hanxing thought to himself. The electromagnetic induction was sent out in an instant, covering the entire gravity space, and it was found that except for him, there was no human body fluctuation. Advertisement, isn't Kagaya-ji here? Hanxing frowned and scanned again, but he really didn't feel Kagaya-ji's body magnetic field. It should be after she arrives in this space, she immediately casts Heaven's Royal Palace and enters another space. It seems that I underestimated her, she is still a little clever. However, she was shot by my ultimate's Thunder Gun. I guess she is very uncomfortable at this time. With a murmur, the space around Hanxing rippled, and his figure flashed into it. As early as when he came, he had already memorized the spatial coordinates of the space crack just now. Appearing in the space crack again, Hanxing looked at the spaces in front of him and frowned. He and Kagaya-ji have just experienced the lava space, the acid space, and the supergravity space just now, and there are still 2 spaces of sand and ice. Of course, it does not rule out that Otsutsuki Kagaya will stay in other spaces. What a headache. It seems that we have to find them one by one. Hanxing touched his chin. But, go to the remaining 2 spaces to find. Now Kagaya-ji is seriously injured and can't escape very far. While speaking, Hanxing walked towards the space in front of him. As the sky and the earth changed, the vast yellow sand ground appeared in Hanxing's eyes, and with a slight scan, Hanxing disappeared here in an instant. Wow! The space ripples, and Hanxing walks out of it. Snow flutters in the sky, and the earth is dyed white. Trees, flowers, mountains, everything is covered with a silvery white coat. Hanxing stands vertically at a high altitude, and the electromagnetic induction is instantly emitted. After being dodged by Kagaya again, Hanxing frowned. He was already tired of this kind of peekaboo. But for Kagaya, who grasped the space, if he wanted to run, he really couldn't take Kagaya. Advertisement At this time, Kagaya-ji was dealing with the wound. She didn't expect Hanxing to come so quickly. Without any hesitation, get into the space again. But these are easily solved by Hanxing one by one. To use the phrase in fantasy novels, there is no realm without strength, the foundation is weak, and it is not solid at all. Beside her, a long crack appeared not far away. The crack was bottomless, like an abyss. After speaking, Kagaya escaped again without hesitation, feeling the ripples in the space not far away. In the gravitational space, Kagaya never imagined that the battle would turn out like this. It's not a chakra competition at all, nor is it a move competition, it's completely Hanxing holding a black thunder spear, chasing after her, and there is no way to fight back. You can still see Kagaya's fair skin. If one shot doesn't work, then 2. Although this can continue to consume Kagaya-ji's strength, Kagaya-ji loses in the end, but how long will it take to fight like this? A figure flickered and appeared in front of Kagaya. The model should look like a gun. Kagaya-ji is the ancestor of Chakra, the goddess of Mao in ancient times. Kagaya-ji was injured, so she was chased and beaten by Hanxing with one finger, and sometimes sent out a few airstrikes of the 80 gods, leaving it to Hanxing and leaving. Hey, I said, does the ancestor of the ninja world just run away? Can we still have a good fight? Hanxing looked at Kagaya-ji, who had already escaped into the space, and shouted loudly. Advertisement: this kind of person has a strong strength, and it is better if they are weaker than their own realm. If the two are of the same level, they will only be crushed. However, no matter what move she uses, Hanxing can handle it with one shot with the Thunder Spear. Feeling the shoulder that was damaged by the Thunder Spear, it was almost healed. Kagaya-ji looked into the distance, as if she could see through space and see Hanxing in the distance. Hanxing doesn't have to think about it, it's his Thunder Spear just now. To be honest, Kagaya-ji is no worse than Hanxing. One of the reasons why she was crushed by Hanxing is that she has too little actual combat experience, too little. In the original book, the reason why Kagaya-ji was sealed by the two brothers of Sage of Six Paths was that she suffered from this kind of loss. If she could fully grasp the power in her body, it would be a trivial matter to deal with the two brothers of Sage of Six Paths. After the ninja world, she can use almost all the blood after the limit, and it becomes extremely powerful when it falls into her hands. For example, Dead Bone Pulse becomes a total of ashes, and even ordinary Six Paths will suffer. There are 6 spaces in total. Hanxing and Kagaya-ji are constantly going around in circles. A smile appeared on his frowning brows. I found it. Ultimate's Thunder Spear instantly appeared in Hanxing's hands, and his figure flashed towards Kagaya-ji. This Thunder Spear can be said to be the highest manifestation of Hanxing Thunder Bloodline. The power of the owner to destroy the world. One is that she has reached the sky in one step, and she has never realized all the realms of the ninja world. What a pity! After being invincible, she will only create an army of white Zetsu to prevent the arrival of Otsutsuki Gold and Otsutsuki Peach. At this time, Kagaya-ji was a little embarrassed. A gunhole appeared there on the shoulder, and the hole around the hole was scorched, and there was even this slight black arc. Hanxing sneered and held a vacuous grip on the crack below. A pair of fair complexions, cold to the bone, and a cold voice with a trace of anger. Wait for my shoulder injury to recover. I must let you know how powerful I am. Chapter 295 Previous chapter Next chapter Advertisement. Kagaya-ji froze, turned her head, gave Hanxing a malicious look, and disappeared in place in an instant. Hanxing. I'm going. You look at me like that. Let's fight. Let's run. You're not tired, I'm tired. Alas. I didn't want to use this trick, why would you force me? Hanxing sighed, looking at the boundless desert below, and then fell to the ground. A dazzling thunder light burst out from the body, and the strong thunder light turned into a thunder beam and shot up directly into the sky. The whole body is filled with chakra, like a substance, turning into chakra tides, and at a speed visible to the naked eye. The thunder and lightning around Hanxing are getting more and more dense. He patted the golden desert below with both hands and shouted, "Awaken!" Hum! An inexplicable aura emanated from Hanxing, instantly covering the entire desert space. Crackle! Crackle! The inexplicable aura swept across the golden ocean below, and suddenly changed. The original golden sand instantly turned into powerful arcs of thunder, forming a sea of thunder. Hanxing's thoughts moved, and the gray thunder and lightning suddenly turned into thunder and lightning waves, which gathered in a frenzy here, combined. A moment later, a giant of thunder with a height of thousands of feet appeared here. Hanxing stood between the thunder giant's eyebrows, and at the same time, the ultimate thunder gun in his hand began to grow larger, and was held by the thunder giant. At the moment when the giant appeared, the entire space seemed a little unstable, and ripples visible to the naked eye appeared on the side of the thunder giant. Advertisement, alas. Why? Hanxing sighed between his eyebrows. With a thought, the thunder giant flew high into the sky, facing the sky above, with a hard bucket. Click. Click. It sounded like the sound of broken glass, and a huge space crack appeared in the originally bright sky. It was like a trace of the sky. Inside the crack, Hanxing could vaguely see the other 4 space entrances in the space. Hanxing doesn't panic about this. He will go to another space after he has completely solved this space. This space is just a space created by Kagaya herself. Compared with the space barriers in the ninja world, it is not a bad one. Every time Hanxing's spear is swung, a huge crack will appear in the sky. Although this crack will recover by itself, the recovery speed is slow, don't worry. Hanxing destruction is not blind destruction, but to find the origin of this space, or the most important part of this space. As long as it is destroyed, this space may not exist. While thinking about it, Hanxing's thunder giant Thor descended to Earth and quickly walked over the desert space. Finally, Hanxing found a different one. That is, the space crack recovery here is much faster than other places, and when you go to the bottom, you swipe the surrounding area, and the open space at the bottom recovers faster than the top. The corner of Hanxing's mouth curled up, finally found it. In the world of ice and snow, Kagaya-ji opened her 360-degree white eyes and carefully observed her surroundings. As long as there was a slight fluctuation in the surrounding space, she would leave without hesitation. There was a ripple in the space in front of him, and then it suddenly shattered, and Hanxing's thunder giant instantly appeared in front of Kagaya-ji. Advertisement: you can continue to run, I don't care, anyway, as long as I destroy all 5 of your spaces. Let's see how you can run later. The indifferent voice followed Chakra, and slammed into Kagaya-ji's ears. With a murmur, the thunder giant flew directly into the air, and then turned over, and the whole person began to rotate rapidly, similar to a dazzling streamer, and stabbed towards the desert below. Oh, did you finally use this trick? Hanxing raised his eyebrows in the center of the thunder giant's eyebrows and said. But she did not expect that Hanxing would be able to destroy one of her spaces. If he was given time, except for the space of the ninja world, the other 4 spaces would soon be destroyed by him. As he spoke, his heart moved, and the surrounding chakra, which belonged to the other 4 attributes of the 5 elements, erupted from Hanxing, turning into bright rays of light, pouring into the thunder giant. As Hanxing fell, the entire desert space suddenly began to vibrate violently, and around it, huge space vortices quietly emerged. But, in the next moment, her expression changed suddenly, and her white eyes were full of horror. She looked at Hanxing with extremely cold eyes, and her tone was also cold to the core. Expand. Truth-seeking ball. If so, then I have to work harder. Feeling that her shoulders were almost back to normal, Kagaya murmured, it will be healed soon. You can use that trick right away. The post-awakening thunderbolt has only yin and yang attributes, and does not have the other 4 attributes. Now that Hanxing has added it, its power will be increased several times. Like the sound of a broken mirror, the space scene where Hanxing was located suddenly cracked, fell, and finally exploded. Boom. Boom. To read the underlined version of the novel, please download Feifei. In the process of fighting before Hanxing, her space was constantly destroyed, but it will automatically recover, unless it is the power of the world-destroying truth-seeking ball. It is difficult to destroy. Kacha. Kacha kacha. With the burst of pupil power, the space around Kagaya suddenly appeared a spiderweb-like crack, and these cracks spread wildly around at a speed visible to the naked eye. Advertisement not far away. Then he looked gloomy and said angrily, I didn't expect his strength to be so strong that he could shatter my sand space. She knew very well that if she ran away, the chakra consumed would not even have the chance to use this move. The power of Otsutsuki Kaguya's chakra and 6 paths surged wildly, and Kaguya's thin body began to swell. Exactly. The injury you brought me has fully recovered. This game is about to end. The angry voice just fell. After all, a space is equivalent to a world. This also shows from the side that Hanxing has begun to use his full strength, and does not want to play hide and seek with her. Hum. Click. Click. The 6 small worlds, including the starting ball space, can be perfectly controlled by Kagaya. One of the worlds is broken, and Kagaya can clearly perceive it. The gust of wind swept through and set off waves of sand, sea and waves, spreading wildly in all directions, covering the sky and the sun, as if the end of the world had come. No. It's time for this chase game to end. Kagaya-ji floated up and looked at Hanxing. In the next instant, an extremely tyrannical pupil power burst out from her reincarnation Sharingan. And his thunder giant is back in the darkness, and there are 5 space passages around. This is the starting ball space in Kagaya-ji's heavenly imperial palace. Chapter 296. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. As the body got bigger and bigger, Kagaya-ji suddenly turned into a dark color. This is the blood following the net of wind, thunder, water, fire, soil, yin and yang, and the 5 elements. The expansion of the truth-seeking ball. Ultimate's truth-seeking ball is also the power of Kagaya-ji Ultimate, which contains the power to destroy the world. After destroying the world, it can recreate the world. Destroy the nature of everything, and return the world to a huge block of chaos. Here's a review of the expansive truth-seeking ball. In the original, with Kagaya inflating the truth-seeking ball, Naruto and Sasuke's full-body Susa as a younger brother in front of him. Click. Click. With the expansion of Kagaya body avatar ultimate truth-seeking ball. In the ice and snow space, the ultimate power of Kagaya and Hanxing's preparations was finally unable to bear, and it began to break into pieces and exploded. The two also returned to the original starting ball space. After returning to the starting ball space, Kagaya stared at Hanxing, her tone icy cold. This move has the power to destroy the world, and this is also the starting ball space. Its collapse is far more terrifying than the desert space you destroyed before. Your move has also been completed. Then, who will die here in the final showdown between the two of us? I'm curious too. Let's see who we see in the end, Hanxing grinned. Kagaya didn't pay attention to Hanxing's words, because after she finished speaking, her head disappeared completely, and it completely merged into the expanded truth-seeking ball, and the expandable truth-seeking ball was growing rapidly. Advertisement as it got bigger, the entire starting sphere space gradually appeared a little crack, and there was a phenomenon of broken. At this time, Hanxing not only merged the other 4 attributes of the 5 elements, chakra, into the Thunder Giant, but also began to compress against the sky covering Thunder Giant. The 1,000-foot-tall Thunder Giant was compressed to about 10 feet by Hanxing. After being compressed, the tens of thousands of Thunder Giants turned black, and terrifying space cracks appeared quietly all over their bodies, representing the terrifying energy contained in their bodies. Between the eyebrows, the corners of Hanxing's mouth twitched, and his voice did not fluctuate. Everything, it's over. It seems to be whispering, it seems to be talking to Kagaya. Then, the entire Thunder Giant, the words fell to destroy the thunderstorm, and rushed towards the expanding truth-seeking ball not far away. Boom. Boom. Just like Pangu opening the sky, the whole world seems to be shattered directly. At the moment of her action, Hanxing's figure suddenly appeared in front of her, and she reached out and grabbed it. This hand, which seemed to cross the space, directly grabbed the fruit of the divine tree in front of her. This fruit is undoubtedly the fruit of the god tree, which is the body of Otsutsuki Kagaya. At the same time, the fruit of the divine tree behind him seemed to have discovered the trace of Hanxing, and he said in horror, "How is it possible? How is it possible? You can survive the turbulence in space without being hurt." After seeing the appearance of Hanxing, the fruit of the divine tree did not hesitate to flee into the distance. Now she has transformed into her body, and is not Hanxing's opponent at all. If she doesn't run, she will only die. At this time, Hanxing's body is flickering with white light, and he is moving forward little by little. The white light covering his body is Hanxing's space energy. Advertisement Filu reminds you. 3 things to read, close. However, no one can appreciate this beautiful and shocking view, because at this time everyone is caught in infinite Tsukuyomi. Looking at the fruit in front of him, Hanxing frowned. That guy, he didn't die. Gradually, the white light in the sky gradually dissipated, and the sky turned into a dark night sky again, returning to calm. With space energy, Hanxing himself can be unharmed in space turbulence, but if he wants to move in space, he must resist the power of space turbulence. Let go of me. Let me go. The fruit of the god tree shook frantically, and a cold voice came from inside. The diaphragm of the ninja world seems to be very close, but it took Hanxing a lot of time and energy to come to the diaphragm in the turbulent space. The dazzling white light of ultimate converged, filled the hole, and then condensed into a little, and finally, it shattered. The ninja world at this time is at night, and the entire ninja world is illuminated in an instant, as if it is sunny day. After advancing for a while, a strange fruit appeared not far in front of Hanxing. At this moment, it is running forward like Hanxing. It's a pity. In this turbulent space, Hanxing's movement speed is comparable to that of Kagaya. It is difficult to catch him, so he can only watch it move in the direction of the ninja world. After all, the power of space here is completely disordered, and it is also the power of surrounding space that is disordered. Space ninjutsu such as teleportation, such as flying thunder god, etc. are completely irrelevant here. Advertisement. This voice is exactly Otsutsuki Kagaya. After the collision with the expansion guide Jade, Kagaya-ji's initial ball space was destroyed, and no new world was created. Hanxing fell into the space turbulence. After carefully looking at the fruit of the divine tree, Hanxing said plainly, "You have two choices now. One is to wipe out my consciousness and die completely, and then I will eat the fruit of the divine tree." In the turbulent flow of empty space. The violent space storm is raging here. Even the existence of the six paths level will soon be exhausted here, and the whole body will be completely torn apart. Even, this scene can be seen in the entire ninja world. A bright white star appeared in the sky in the distance, and it exploded in the sky. But, in this space turbulence, there is an illusory figure standing here quietly. No matter how the space storm is torn, he has nothing at all, as if this phantom is a part of the space storm. Therefore, Hanxing can only move little by the space energy. Hanxing didn't pay attention, and he was using this to get closer to the fruit of the divine tree, and while he was talking, the distance between the two was only an arm's length. I don't know what this strange fruit is, and even the turbulent flow of space can't leave a single scar on it. This person is Hanxing, because not far ahead, there is a huge diaphragm, which is much larger than the 5 spaces created by Kagaya-ji just now. There is no doubt that it is the ninja world where Hanxing is located. Unless you open a long-distance space tunnel to connect the distant space, you can move directly here. After the inflated truth-seeking ball and Hanxing's destruction thunder collided, the two exploded directly. Seems to have discovered Hanxing's intention. The fruit of the god tree suddenly tore the barrier of the ninja world into it, and Hanxing's body suddenly burst into white light, and he took a few steps forward, followed by the fruit of the god tree into the high sky of the ninja world, and a figure gradually solidified, not far from him. It is the fruit of the divine tree that condenses the entity. Chapter 297 Previous chapter Next chapter Advertisement. One is that I am the container, to seal you in my body, like Sage of 6 Paths, to become Jinchuriki. These two. Which would you choose? 2 choices. Otsutsuki Kagaya-ji is not stupid and knows which one to choose. Hanxing's words stopped the shaking fruit of the divine tree, and after a long time of deep thought, a cold voice came from inside. Why don't you kill me? Instead, you want to seal me in your body and become what this ninja world calls Jinchuriki. It's very simple. There are 2 reasons. Hanxing smiled lightly. One is that there is no deep hatred between the two of us, and the other is the root cause of all men's problems. I want you to be my woman? You think. The founding ancestor of the ninja world becomes my woman. This feeling is the dream of countless people. You bastard. Kagaya-ji's cold and shy voice came from inside the tree fruit. Maybe. So, what's your choice? Hanxing smiled indifferently. Throughout the ninja world, Kagaya-hime is a lonely and pitiful person. In order to resist the invasion of Otsutsuki Peach and Otsutsuki Gold, Kagaya-hime started the White Zetsu plan. Unfortunately, this plan was disapproved by his 2 sons, who directly rebelled against her and sealed her. This seal is up to now. After all, as a woman, Kagaya-ji married an ordinary person, and finally devoured the fruit of the divine tree, but she did not bring a sense of security. Advertisement. Not if she married Hanxing. Also, in the last world, many Hokage fans thought Kagaya-ji was pitiful, and Hanxing was one of them. The most important thing is that Kagaya-ji is a woman and a very beautiful woman. Looking at all the women in Hanxing, none of them are cold and domineering. The appearance of Kagaya-ji just fills this missing part. Do you know that after you become my Jinchuriki, you will face the pursuit of my clan? After a while, Kagaya-ji said. I know. Otsutsuki Peach and Otsutsuki Gold are just, if they dared to show up. Can't the 2 of us work together to destroy them? Hanxing smiled and said without fear. It is good. As she said that, the fruit of the divine tree penetrated directly into Hanxing's stomach, and at the same time, a seal appeared quietly, and she didn't want to be wiped out by Hanxing. At the moment when the fruit of the divine tree got into Hanxing's stomach, Hanxing felt that his mind was clear and his body was full of countless powers. The whole portrait is like the sublimation of ultimate, entering another level or field. 3 days later, Konoha village belongs to the courtyard of Hanxing et al. Of course, Hanxing, who can destroy the ninja world with a wave of his hand, is still fearsome, but Hanxing is different from Kagaya. Since the 4 wars, Hanxing has never appeared in the ninja world, and even reclusive. At the same time, consciousness returned, and his confused eyes opened. As for the guard ninjas guarding both sides, the lowest strength reached Jonin. Hanxing could see that these Jonins were from different countries. Silently. Advertisement in the courtyard, everyone headed by Jiraiya and the others, as well as women, were sweating profusely here. The weather is very good today, the blue sky is very bright, and there are no clouds in the sky, like a flawless piece of jade. Walking out of Senju's courtyard, Hanxing walked along the red carpet on the street, and the girls behind him smiled happily. The white 6 paths robe appeared on the body, and the eyes unconsciously turned into 9-hook jade Rinnegan, white eyes, illusion. Susanoo. Hanxing can be activated instantly. Hanxing frowned, he didn't want to see Kagaya-ji like this, but now is not the time to say this. With a knot on both hands, the eyes that had returned to normal instantly transformed into a reincarnation Sharingan, and shouted, Infinite Tsukuyomi. Solution. Although the current Kagaya, after 3 months of Hanxing's hard work, is no longer so strangers do not enter, and the relationship with Hanxing has also been greatly eased, but, Hanxing's wedding, no matter what, you can't favor one over the other. Opening his eyes, Hanxing quickly pinched this thought away, feeling the changes in Sheng's eyes, and with a single thought, he returned to his original appearance. As for why Kagaya is there, it's very simple, just like 9 tails. Besides, Hanxing and Kagaya don't need to be sealed. In Hanxing's words, he made Kagaya his wife. Whether it is the ninja of Rock Shinobi Village or the ninja of Cloud Shinobi Village, or those who hate Hanxing and fear Hanxing. Even ordinary people, they are full of reverence for Hanxing. In his stomach, Hanxing could clearly feel that there was a space inside. This space was very large, much larger than that of 9 tails, but it was a vast expanse of white. Kagaya-ji in white robes sat there quietly, as if got used to it. After finishing speaking, all the girls, led by Hanxing, were all wearing snow-white wedding dresses, holding a bunch of flowers in their hands, with excited smiles on their faces, even the icy Kagaya. Hanxing got married in Konoha in 3 days. On both sides of the street, the dense crowd cheered excitedly, some even blushed with excitement, and some fainted. He felt like a god, and it was such a wonderful feeling that he almost got Hanxing into it. Advertisement feelings can be cultivated slowly in the future, and marriage is only once. As soon as the news came out, shadows, ninjas, samurai, even daimyo, nobles from all over the world swarmed. No matter if they could reach it in 3 days, they still walked towards Konoha. And the 4th Ninja War ended everything because of Hanxing. It was a win-win situation. Not only did he successfully gain a wife, he also became 10 Tails Jinchuriki. Hinata, Ino, Terumi Mei, Tsunade, Kushina, Kagaya. The time has come. Let's go, Hanxing said, looking at the girls in front of him. To read the underlined version of the novel, please download Feifei. Even the space barrier in front of him could be smashed by Hanxing with one punch. 3 months later, a news came out, and the entire ninja world suddenly became a sensation. At the same time, various bloodline boundaries such as space, lava style, ice escape, etc. follow. A ray of morning light rises from a distance, and a touch of fish belly white appears on the horizon. A new day has come. A huge red carpet, from the courtyard hall, through twists and turns, leads to the courtyard door. The thick roots of the sacred tree in the ninja world began to wither quickly, everyone fell to the ground, and the Rinnegan ripples in their eyes disappeared, returning to their original state. Everyone hit Infinite Tsukuyomi once, and it was even clearer in their hearts that it was Hanxing who unlocked Infinite Tsukuyomi and saved the entire ninja world. Along the way, Hanxing walked to the end amid the cheers of the crowd. There was a huge arena temporarily set up in the village, where the wedding was going to take place, and all Hanxing's old husbands were also there. Chapter 298 Previous chapter Next chapter Advertisement. Yamanaka Kaiichi, Hyuga Hiyashi, Senju Hashirama from Impure World Reincarnation. Senju Tobarama and other two special characters, as well as Sage of Six Paths that surprised Hanxing, Otsutsuki Hagoromo. According to the rules, Hanxing took Ino to the front of Yamanaka Kaiichi and his wife. Hanxing smiled, and Ino shyly said, "Old man, didn't you run away this time? HMPH. From now on, you have to take good care of Ino." Yamanaka Kai snorted coldly, but he couldn't hide the smile on the corner of his mouth. "In the future, I'll leave Ino to you." Yamanaka Keiko smiled softly. "Don't worry, mother-in-law." Hanxing patted his chest. "Then take Hinata to Hyuga Hiyashi." Hyuga Hiyashi looked at Hanxing with a complicated expression. He didn't expect that the poor boy he didn't agree with before was now a hero of the ninja world. Next to him, Hanxing's sister-in-law, Hyuga Hanabi, looked at Hanxing with admiration. "I'll ask you Hinata in the future." Hyuga Hiyashi looked at Hinata with a trace of reluctance in his eyes, and in a blink of an eye his daughter had grown up and married. "Don't worry, father-in-law. Senju Hashirama and Senju Tobarama are even simpler, they're family anyway." "Ha ha ha. I can also see when Suna gets married." Senju Hashirama laughed. Next to Kushina is Vortex Mito and a great elder of the Vortex clan. With Hanxing's current strength, it is very easy to go to the Pure Land to find someone in Impure World reincarnation. Advertisement. Finally, Hanxing took Kagaya to Sage of Six Paths. Sage of Six Paths looked at Hanxing with a complicated expression. Everyone else got a younger brother out of thin air. Does this count as a father out of thin air? "I hope you will take good care of your mother." Before, Hanamura and I didn't understand her mother's difficulties. If we knew, we would never deal with my mother. If she wanted it, we would give it to her directly. Lord Mother is like this, it's too cold. Don't tell us anything, otherwise, it wouldn't have happened. Don't worry, I'll be here in the future. No one can bully Kagaya. Hanxing was firm. A wedding is done here and there. After that, there's the mighty drinking session. Shikamaru came over first, holding a bottle of wine, and said with an envious look, "Don't say anything. Today we only have one purpose, that is to get you drunk." Saying that, he handed him a wine bottle and said, "I'll come first." Behind Shikamaru, Shao Li, Neji, Choji, Naruto, Kakashi and others stared at Hanxing with good looks. At this moment, Kagaya was wearing white shorts and a loose short-sleeved t-shirt, showing her body vividly. In Kaguya's words, she is now the fruit of the god tree, which belongs to a special existence, and the body is in Hanxing's belly, and she can have children if she wants to, but this will separate some power from her body. After eating the fruit of the divine tree, the war was settled. After the world was at peace, she was afraid that her clansmen would catch up to take revenge, so she wanted to add 2 helpers. This space was specially created by Hanxing. Hanxing and others all live here. There are green mountains and green waters, white clouds are blooming, and there are waterfalls flowing directly not far away, like a fairyland on earth. Since living here with Hanxing, Kagaya understands what happiness is. It is something that was not there before, and now, when she is here, the anxiety in her heart is gone. She just wants a few people to live like this forever. Go down. Advertisement. Later, Hinata, Terumi Mei, Tsunade, Kushina gave birth to a child for Hanxing one after another. But, Hanxing is very happy, he just likes his daughter. What does a man do? Will he be angry with him in the future? The birth of the 2 brothers took away some of her power, and in order to supplement and resist the appearance of the 2 clansmen, Infinite Tsukuyomi was created. Ino and Hinata, 2 women, one wearing a white cheongsam, the other wearing a pink dress. The 2 women's faces have not changed at all, they are still like girls, pretty and cute. 3 girls and 1 boy. The range of space is okay, 1/10 the size of the ninja world, and it is far enough to live in the Hanxing family. Well, I should have gone to the ninja world, but I didn't expect this girl to be able to open the space channel by herself. A hint of surprise flashed in Hanxing's eyes. It was Kagaya that made him a little surprised. After all these years of getting along after getting married, Hanxing finally took Kagaya. Kaguya's words made Hanxing very moved, and the 2 fought directly in the sealed space. Night. Hanxing still spends it in his own house. Wedding candles. But what he didn't expect was that Kaguya was the first time. In Kaguya's words, since she came to the ninja world, she has been staying next to the sacred tree. Later, the sacred tree bears fruit, and she doesn't like this kind of world. A sense of chaos. This space is similar to the Royal Palace of Heaven, and has a special space channel with the ninja world. He is like Mount Myoboku, the Earth Dragon Cave. Since Hanxing got married in Konoha, the whole family seems to have disappeared. In the next few years, he has never been seen in Konoha, only his legend. The girl Hanxing mentioned is called Jing Shui, a daughter born by Hanxing and Ino. She is the eldest. Advertisement. But as time passed, he and Hinata and others had children, only Kaguya did not. Besides, these children are all grown up by her, can't they still call her mother in the future? Hanxing. Did you see Cher? Ino Hinata came over from not far away. Until midnight, this grand wedding is finally over. Hanxing. You are still relaxing here. Just now, Sister Kaguya checked that Shui is no longer in this space. At this time, Kushina and Terumi Mei, two women, hugging a little girl, ran in, with a trace of anxiety on their faces. There were no clouds in the blue sky. Hanxing was lying on the grass with a small grass in his mouth. In a space parallel to the ninja world. What do you want her to do? So many children, plus her care, can't take care of them. Just like Yui and Hamura, this will also reduce Hanxing's strength. For this reason, Kaguya doesn't want to have children. In her words, there are already so many children. A few pairs of beautiful eyes have added a bit of agility, as if there is a little bit of light. Here, there is no trace of worry. What do you want to do? It seems that you have returned to your childhood. It was a pleasant surprise. Hanxing didn't panic at all. With his current physique, he was already a non-human physique. Even after drinking all the alcohol present, he wouldn't feel a little drunk. So he used special means to get himself pregnant and gave birth to two brothers, Yui and Hamura. She walked in with a child in her arms with a gentle face, and her face was no longer as cold as Hanxing's first sight. Chapter 299. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. The child Kaguya is holding is exactly what Tsunade has just given birth to. At this time, Tsunade is still confinement, but with her body, Hanxing believes that she will recover soon. Why are you still here as a father? Shui is no longer here, so why don't you go to the ninja world to find her back? Kaguya said here. A domineering air of the iceberg female president emanated from her body. So worried about what she is doing. That girl inherited the blood of me and Ino. She was born at the peak of cage level, and even awakened wood style. There is no one in the ninja world who is her opponent. As soon as Hanxing said this, he was immediately scorned by several women. Kushina said angrily, "Is this what I said? I'm afraid that the ninja world will be messed up by this girl." That being said, Hanxing can still see the worry in the eyes of the girls. No matter what, Jing Shui is the girls who watched him grow up. Okay. Let's see where she went first. Hanxing smiled slightly, wiping the air with his palm. Like a mirror in the sky, the image of the ninja world appeared in an instant. Is this the ninja world? Have fun? A little loli, about 10 years old, with a pair of yellow ponytails, stood pretty beside a waterfall, with a pair of bright big eyes flickering, and there was a bit of cunning in their eyes. Not only was she not afraid of the height of the waterfall, but she accelerated and jumped directly from the top of the waterfall. Just as the little girl jumped down, a voice sounded from a distance. Be careful. Advertisement. In the next instant, a figure was as fast as lightning, hugged the little girl in his arms, and then rolled in midair, standing firmly on the beach below the waterfall. A loose red skirt bottom, an orange kimono on the upper body, a loose ponytail. The most important thing is that the pupils of the eyes are not black, but extremely white. There is no doubt that only the white eyes of the Hyuga clan have this situation. This woman hugging Jing Shui is Hanxing's sister-in-law, Hyuga Hanabi. At this time, Hanabi has grown into a famous beauty, and has a fight with Hinata. Hanabi fell from midair with Jing Shui in his arms, and looked at the girl in his arms carefully, with a hint of surprise in his eyes. As Hanxing's sister-in-law, Hanabi naturally knows Jing Shui, and comes here from time to help Hinata and the others take care of the children, so she is no stranger to the little loli in front of her. Jing Shui. It's you, little girl. Why are you here? Hyuga Hanabi came here to relax today, just in time to see a little girl on the waterfall jumping from the waterfall. So she rushed here, and after she opened her eyes, the little girl had already jumped down, but at this time she had already reached the waterfall and stopped by the way. Time was a little tight. Hanabi didn't take a close look, and now seeing the child in his arms, he was naturally very surprised. Shouldn't this girl be in the world made by her brother-in-law? Little aunt. Why are you? Jing Shui blinked. Looking at Hanabi, a hint of excitement appeared on her chubby little face. You? How did you come out? Did your brother-in-law send you to the ninja world? Yes. Yes. Dad said that I'm not too young, it's time to come to the ninja world to exercise. Jing Shui's bright little eyes kept spinning like a sly little fox. I have been running to Hanxing a lot over the years, so I know what kind of character the little girl in front of me is. This girl is really unlucky. As soon as she came out, she ran into Hanabi. Feeling the momentum of Hanxing and Kagaya-ji, Hinata's face became serious. Hu-kun, did something happen to Kagaya's sister? Advertisement. She just shook her head helplessly and dragged Jing Shui towards Konoha village. Looking at Hanabi, who was scrutinizing back and forth, the little girl raised Tsunere's small chest. Her tone was firm and serious. Really, really. Looking at the void in front of you, taking one step, the whole person turned into nothingness and finally disappeared. Silently, a black passage appeared here, and then two figures walked out of it. Don't worry, I'll go out with Kagaya and get rid of a few mice, come back soon. Hanxing smiled slightly, and at the same time, the snowy winter turned into a spring environment again. In the space made by Hanxing, looking at the performance of this little girl, Hanabi is sure that this little girl is sneaking out. While speaking, Kagaya-ji handed the baby in her hand to Hinata, and her figure flashed into Hanxing's body. Yeah, this girl is not afraid of anything, but she is afraid of Hanabi, which is good. As soon as she sneaked out, the first person she met was Hanabi. Terumi Mei couldn't help laughing. On the green grass, Hanxing and the others looked at the picture above and couldn't help laughing. Although the other girls didn't say anything, they all looked at Hanxing and Kagaya-ji with their watery eyes, waiting for their explanation. His tone was cold. They're here? Okay. With Hanabi watching. Let this girl play in the ninja world for a few more days. I think she's suffocated by staying here. Hanxing shook his head and smiled. In the next moment, his face changed, suddenly showing a hint of icy color, and the icy aura spread out. Advertisement. Wow. Long live my aunt. She gently touched the little girl's forehead. Okay. Don't be depressed. It's a big deal. The little girl will let you play here for 2 more days. Seeing this scene, Hanabi didn't even know that she was being teased by this little girl. At the same time, Kagaya-ji Shuibai's face turned pale in the second, and the originally soft eyes instantly showed a hint of panic. Jing Shui, who was originally depressed, jumped up with joy in an instant, and the sly smile and pride on her face could not be concealed. Not only is she extremely naughty, but also has a serious elder sister's demeanor. According to her sister, this girl's character is exactly the same as that of Sister Ino when she was a child. Ninja World. On a cliff. I can rest assured that Hanabi is here. Finally, I don't have to worry about this girl's wanton destruction. Ino stuck out his tongue and smiled mischievously. Really? Hanabi stretched his voice, his white eyes filled with serious suspicion. Yeah. It's finally here, Hanxing said. As if to meet Hanxing's will, the space that was full of spring suddenly turned into a cold winter. When the little girl Jingshui heard Hanabi's previous sentence, her face was instantly filled with excitement, and the next sentence seemed to be poured with cold water, and she became depressed. Okay. It's my sister-in-law. I believe you. Since you are in the ninja world, I will take you to Konoha for a good stroll, and then I will send you back to the space where the brothers-in-law stayed. Wait for me to come back for dinner, Hanxing said to the girls. Chapter 300 Previous chapter Next chapter Advertisement. Said to be walking, but it is actually floating in the air. The appearance is similar to Kagaya-ji. The figure is fat and thin. The fat one can be said to be burly. Both of them were wearing white robes, and one of them was wearing a light veil, sitting on the shoulders of the burly man. These two are Otsutsuki Peach and Otsutsuki Gold. This world. What's the situation? How can there be such a strong chakra? Lord Peach. Isn't this the channel you opened up to track the huge chakra? Otsutsuki Jinshi whispered. Indeed. There is no deviation in the space channel this time. It's just, the huge chakra here makes me a little surprised. How can there be such a big chakra? This is much better than I expected. Otsutsuki looked puzzled. Lord Peach. Isn't that bad? We just recovered all the chakras here, Otsutsuki Jinshi said with a smile. This smile makes people shudder. There were ripples in the space in front of the two of them. Hanxing walked out of the space passage and looked at the two people not far away with a dull expression. Looking at Hanxing, who appeared suddenly, the two of them were surprised at first. Otsutsuki Jinshi hurriedly said, "The chakra on this man is huge. I can smell that traitor from him." Otsutsuki took a step forward in peach pose, looking indifferent. What is your relationship with Otsutsuki Kagaya-hime? My wife. Hanxing's expression did not change, his expression was indifferent. Very good. Since you are the traitor's husband, just killing you will attract the traitor. Otsutsuki smiled indifferently. Advertisement. Then he licked his lips and looked at Hanxing with a hint of greed in his eyes. The chakra on your body is so huge. The chakra fruit you make must be delicious. Go. As soon as Otsutsuki's peach-style voice fell, Otsutsuki's golden-style figure instantly turned into a white shadow and rushed towards Hanxing. He reached out and grabbed it. A red halo suddenly turned into a red chain. Almost in the next instant, a figure suddenly appeared in front of Hanxing. Facing Hanxing, flick away. Hanxing's face was indifferent. The purple-black thunderbolt on his hand could not be extinguished, and he grabbed it and grabbed the red chain in front of him. In the next instant, when Otsutsuki Jinshi didn't respond, the other hand quickly stretched out to Otsutsuki Jinshi's chest. Puff! Otsutsuki's golden chest is directly penetrated by Hanxing. Hanxing frowned, feeling the sound of breaking air behind him, raised his brows, and whispered, "Have a hand." Behind him, the Otsutsuki gold stance, holding the transformed red metal stick, swept away at Hanxing's head. Hanxing turned around suddenly, and his fist with purple thunder and lightning instantly met the red long stick in the sky. Boom! The moment the fists and sticks collided, a terrifying force burst out, the two of them floated in the air, and the mountains below still began to crack open. But, boom! Advertisement, sure enough. What was written in the original book is true. Hanxing frowned. Looking at the purple electric giant snake that had been boosted, Hanxing stretched out his hand and the giant snake in front of him disappeared without a trace. Filu reminds you. 3 things to read, close click. In the humming, Hanxing's purple lightning snake was completely absorbed by it in an instant, and then bounced back to Hanxing with stronger power. In the Otsutsuki golden pose, in disbelief, Hanxing's fist smashed his red long stick into 2 halves, and his chest banged with unabated power. Next to the Otsutsuki peach style, he didn't even look at the Otsutsuki gold style below, but looked at Hanxing with a fiery face. Open the hideous mouth of the snake, face the Otsutsuki peach pose, and swallow it. Puff! Do you know why Kagaya-hime was chased by me so helplessly? It's because her ninjutsu attributes have no effect on me at all, and even more so for you. Don't worry, with my current state, these two are not my opponents. Hanxing secretly faced Kagaya Ji-Dao, his words were full of confidence. Facing the attack of the giant snake, Otsutsuki's peach-style panel should not be discolored. He stretched out his left hand, and there was a strange rinnegan in the palm of his hand, exuding bursts of ripples. At the moment of contact with the white beam of light, Otsutsuki's peach-like complexion changed, and his face was stunned, because his hands couldn't absorb anything. Hee hee. It seems that you still don't listen to the persuasion. These are useless to me. Otsutsuki smiled indifferently, stretched out his hands, and didn't pay any attention to the white beam of light in front of him. Hanxing turned around, clenched his fist, and punched straight to Otsutsuki's peach pose. Not only that, there are various bloodline limits in the ninja world, various attribute attacks, and there are still 7 attributes fusion ninjutsu with thunder and lightning as the main. A large white beam of light suddenly appeared with Hanxing's fist swinging out. Advertisement. Turning his head, he looked at his Otsutsuki Peach style with a flat face not far away and a hot face, thinking to himself, in the original book, he remembers that Otsutsuki Peach style can absorb chakra, and he doesn't know if his Thunder Fruit can absorb it. Really, from my point of view, your strength is just like that. Hanxing was not afraid at all, and his face even showed a hint of provocation. Hee. Very good consciousness. Then dedicate your chakra to me. Otsutsuki flew to Hanxing in Peach style, and suddenly stretched out his hands to touch Hanxing. It seems that I can only use that trick, Hanxing thought to himself. Although Otsutsuki Peach style was a little surprised that Hanxing could wipe out the purple electric giant snake in an instant, he soon looked at Hanxing with great pride, condescending like a god from Otherworld, overlooking all living beings. The space around the huge purple lightning snake is distorted, like the revival of the ancient snake. The body is covered by the sky. Hyuga is shrouded in Hanxing. For example, the fusion of the 7 attributes dominated by fire, water, wind. He can come at his fingertips. Of course, among these fusion attributes, Hanxing's Thunder Fruit is the strongest in terms of power. It's not ordinary. The only pity is that these ninjutsu have no effect on the Otsutsuki Peach style in front of him. Then, with a swipe, the Otsutsuki Gold style body was thrown into the ground. Hanxing's purple thunder fist penetrated Otsutsuki's golden chest directly, accompanied by a burnt smell. Now Hanxing's strength has reached an unprecedented level. As long as he belongs to thunder and lightning, he can easily control it, whether it is the enemy's or his own. It is not an exaggeration to say that he is the god of thunder. While thinking, Hanxing waved his hand casually, and a purple-black lightning snake condensed in Hanxing's hands. In the next instant, the purple lightning snake appeared in front of Otsutsuki Peach style in an instant, as if passing through space. Such strength. Chakra fruit made from this chakra must be delicious. I can't wait. Hu-kun. Be careful. The person on the opposite side is called Otsutsuki Momo, and he is also the main character who came to chase me this time. The one just now was just his servant. Kagaya-ji said worriedly in the sealed space. A monstrous roar sounded, and the entire earth collapsed in an instant.